I need you to think about your dream. That big life dream.
The people who dream and those people who dream big have a different kind of life than the people who don't dream.
A winner is a dreamer who never gives up.
Dreams require sacrifices. Like, my city's expensive, move. My car payments are high, sell your car and take the bus. This is dreams we're talking about. We're talking about dreams.
Whether it's fear or anxiety, whatever it may be, I believe that every single person who's going out to chase their dreams has those voices in their head. I think it's part of the human experience.
Stop downgrading your dream to fit your reality and start upgrading your conviction to match your destiny.
Stay strong, have faith, keep pushing through. I've said this before, and I'm living proof of it, is that on the other side of your struggle is something good. On your other side of your struggle is something better. On the other side of your struggle is some sort of success.
Why would you waste 1 second doing something that wasn't progressing your dream?
Go after this thing called life. Don't look back and have regrets. Understand that you're at a place and a position right now when hard work and valuing people, nothing can stop you, I promise you.
So your dream will cause you to go insane, because what you want, it hunts you every single night. See, the big dogs, they won't give you the opportunity. You're gonna have to take it.
I need you to remember your destination.
You don't realize your dreams are so important because your DNA, who you are as a person, is wrapped up in your dreams.
No matter what happens, you will not quit, because quitting is not an option, because you have a why, you have a passion, you have a purpose.
I have a dream.
Your DNA is in your dreams.
Be the example for the crazy dreamers in this world.
You have got to make a declaration that this is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it, and you're going to go all out to have it.
What you want exists. Don't settle until you get it. You need to use guilt as your fuel. You need to start feeling guilty when you're not achieving or striving towards your dream. You can use the people that doubted your dream as motivation. When your dreams are dying and when you don't have enough strength to go on, I need you to stop the procrastination. I need you to let go of all limitations.
So I'm here to tell you today that you can have anything you want, be anyone you want, but you're gonna have to work.
See, dreams, aspirations, they're not easily obtained. But one of the hardest things to do is to keep going, is to keep chasing.
People will give up their dreams for certainty. But I'm telling you that your life will start to change when you become more committed to your dreams than your comfort zone. Stop being pushed around by the fears in your mind and start being led by the dreams in your heart.
This is your moment, and you gotta look in the mirror and believe that.
Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship.
So take advantage of today. Take advantage of tomorrow. Take advantage of every opportunity that you have to do what you want in life.
Life's too short to be working on someone else's dream. And I know it's difficult to follow your dreams, but it's even worse if you don't. You have to find a way to build your own dream, or someone else will hire you to build theirs. If you give up on your dream, what's left? Because the people who accomplished their dreams in this world stopped telling people about them and started showing them. They never once gave up on a dream just because of the amount of time it took to accomplish it. No, they knew that the time was gonna pass anyway. Every single successful person that accomplished a dream will tell you that as soon as you truly start pursuing your dream, your life wakes up and everything has meaning. You need to know without a shadow of a doubt that it's going to happen. And when you believe wholeheartedly, then there's no need to call it a dream.
The people that are running after their dream know they're going to have hard times. They keep on running because they're saying within themselves, I'm the one, no matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it.
It's simple. You either change your dreams or enhance your skills. The amount of work is the same. Every person that did incredible things in this world had to dream crazy, dream big. Don't wait for the perfect opportunity. Create it. You are your only limit. Your potential is endless. Go do what you dreamed you could do. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. Don't worry about failure. You only have to be right once. Because when something is important enough, you do it, even if the odds are not in your favor. You gotta stop believing in the doubters and start believing in your abilities. You've got hate? Use it. Put in the extra hour, fueled by the anger you have for not achieving your dream.
Keep striving, never give up, fall down 7 times, get up 8.
Are you tired? Think of all the people that are counting on you when you succeed. I believe that every person has the ability to flip a switch inside their mind and say, it's go time. I'm not holding back. No matter what it takes, I will do what I say. This time, it's different. I've caught the fire. I'm ready to go. This year is my year. There's always another skill. There's always another challenge. And your dream needs to be stronger than your excuses.
If you do not do what you're doing right now well, your goal is just going to be a fancy desire, isn't it?
Because you will feel defeated at times. You're going to want to give up, but you have to start doing things that you didn't know you could do. Staying in your comfort zone never does anything for you. Because even if you think you're out of your comfort zone, there's always another level. Show the world how bad you'll fight to be in the winner's circle. If you can't find the key to your dream, then pick the lock. Either you find a way to accomplish your goal or you make one. If you fight your limitations, you get to keep them. If you're not getting the results you want from your dream, then examine your motivation. Give yourself something to work towards constantly. Take charge of your emotions. Don't let someone else choose them for you.
It's time to ignite the dream. It's time for you to stop settling for just money and really open your game up.
All you have to do is know where you're going, and the answers will come to you. Forget the past mistakes, forget the failures, forget everything except what you're going to do now and do it. It's taken me my entire life to understand it's not necessary to know every single detail and to stop testing the waters and just dive in. You're gonna get judged regardless of what you do. Expect the best, plan for the worst, and prepare to be surprised. Big results require big ambitions. It's tapping into your own emotions and letting them drive your dream.
guys, I'm Fatwa. And I'm Khanuja. And we are Sunway College Ipoh students. We're going to take you for a walk around our college. So this is our lobby area for students to hang. So you can hang anytime that you want. Even before class, after class, or in between classes, or just anytime. So this is our IT corner. Usually we use the computer to do assignments or maybe do some research or maybe to watch even movies. There are so many books in the library that you can borrow and revise whenever you want. So this is our student lounge, my favorite place in college, a place where you can chill, you can hang, or you can have a small discussion or even have your lunch break here. This is the computer lab where students sit for their ACCA, CBE exam and for other computer classes. So this is where the college display all the updates of their students. Hi, I'm Jocelyn. Hi, I'm Ada. And we're students from Sunway's Foundation in Arts course. Okay, so now we are going to show you our classes and facilities. Let's go. So right here we have the surah. And right here we have our washroom. And during break between classes, it is convenient for students to freshen up. So this is class 105 and usually students from the FIA course on business and accounting will use classrooms on this level. Not to mention that all the classrooms are air conditioned, so no worries. And because of the strict SOPs, we can only fit up to around 20 students per class because the tables are put separately for social distancing. And we have computers and a screen and whiteboard for lecturers and students to do presentations. So this lecture hall is actually the biggest classroom we have. Usually orientations for new students and even exams are held here. As you can see, the ACCA exams are being held here now. Good luck accounting students! Hi, welcome to Sunway's Mac Lab.
Okay, so here is usually used by our art and design students.
And all the PCs here are iMacs. Not to mention there's Wi-Fi, screen and projector, and air conditioning too. So right here, we have Studio 1, Sunway's graphic design studio, where students complete their final year projects, their assignments, practice photography, and even drawing. So to your right, there are completed artworks done by Sunway's School of Art and Design students.
So now it's actually our Studio 2, which is our interior design studio. And come, let me show you the model that had been done by our interior design studio. And here is the place where our students had their daily activities done.
Okay, please wait for a moment, we will process. Sure.
Okay. So here is actually our payment counter where we do our payments and do booking for outdoor activities.
This is your coupon. Hope you enjoy. Thank you, Miss. Here's our dodgeball coupon. Shall we?
Let's go.
Hi, Fatwa. Hi, Anuja. Shall we go for a drink?
Yeah, sure.
Let's go. And one more thing, the parking at Sunway College Ipoh is free. So now we're here at Starbucks to chill out. But fun fact, did you know there are other amenities near Sunway College Ipoh that are really convenient to students? So we have mamak shops and fast food joints at a walking distance away. And after food, we all have to work out, right? So there are also sports facilities nearby. So we are here at the swim park. Students can enjoy their sports activities after classes such as futsal, badminton, and dodgeball for free. So what are you guys waiting for? See you guys at Sunway College Ipoh. Bye!
Right, a very good morning to all the students. Selamat pagi, Cikgu Abdul Ghani. Good morning to students and also all the teachers who are here in today with us for our second session of the workshop, which is Bengkel, Sebaran, KSSM, Sejarah 2021. Before I start further, I would like to share or give some few house rules to follow during this entire workshop. All right. Firstly, before I even show the slide, I would like all of you students who received the invitation with the Zoom link, kindly ensure you change your username when you enter into Zoom in order for my team to allow you in. All right, this is first come, first serve basis, where those who had registered earlier, because Zoom had limitation, and received the invitation with the Zoom link, they are the one can enter into Zoom room. The others who did not receive the Zoom link, I would appreciate if you can log into YouTube stream. Okay, I will share with you the YouTube stream in this Zoom, in this chat box here. And hope you can share with your friends who can't manage to register and can't enter into Zoom. They can actually watch this workshop through YouTube. All right. I truly appreciate all of you in this room adhere to the house rules that I'm going to share. Hold on, yeah. All right, so today we will do two sessions. The first session will start from 9 to 11 a.m. where Cikgu Abdul Ghani will present his workshop on Sebaran KSSM Sejarah 2021. And thereafter, it is an exciting movement where you will have a motivational session with Professor Hugh Gill, an Associate Provost Student Experience from Sunway University. He will be guiding you or giving you some ideas, some tips on how to be a successful student during this pandemic period. All right. So house rules to follow during this workshop. I really appreciate if all students in this Zoom room to keep your microphone muted unless you have questions to ask. All right. Keep your video on at all times if possible. Capture questions in the chat box, whether you are from the Zoom room, YouTube. All right. I even had shared Cikgu Abdul Ghani's Telegram ID. If you would like to personally send the question to him, do feel free to send it to Cikgu Abdul Ghani's Telegram. Okay. For those of you who are in this Zoom room, kindly raise your hand using the emoji if you want to ask questions. All right. This is to build the discussion during the session. And if you need to head out for a moment, it's all right. Okay. As I mentioned, there will be two sessions. Kindly do not log out or do not leave so that to ensure you stay connected throughout the session from 9 to 12. All right. That's all about the house rules. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you all will enjoy the workshop. Once again, I would like to wish everyone a very good morning to all teachers and students. Selamat pagi dan salam sejahtera kepada para pelajar-pelajar dan guru-guru dari seluruh Malaysia. Saya Puan Michelle dari Sunway College Ipoh ingin menyambut kehadiran para pelajar-pelajar dan guru-guru pada pagi ini bagi Bengkel Sebaran KSSM Sejarah 2021. Kami pihak college amat bergembira dapat menjemput Cikgu Abdul Ghani bin Abu Bakar, seorang guru cemerlang sejarah dan pembina modul subjek sejarah Jabatan Pendidikan Negeri Perak. Pada pagi ini beliau akan berkongsi format pentafsiran atau format baru bagi mata pelajaran sejarah tahun 2021. Bengkel kami pada hari ini adalah sedikit berbeza berbanding dengan bengkel semalam. Okey, bengkel hari ini adalah lebih kepada interaksi, di mana para pelajar dan guru-guru digalakkan untuk mengemukakan atau menanya soalan-soalan semasa pembentangan atau perkongsian dari Cikgu Abdul Ghani. Bengkel kami hari ini adalah lebih kepada sesi interaksi untuk memudahkan para pelajar memahami format baru, okey, dalam subjek sejarah ini. Saya ingin mengucapkan sekali lagi ribuan terima kasih kepada Cikgu Abdul Ghani kerana sudi meluangkan masa beliau bersama kami, terutama kepada pelajar-pelajar tingkatan 5 SPM 2021 yang akan bakal menduduki peperiksaan SPM nanti. Dengan tidak melengahkan masa, saya ingin menjemput Cikgu Abdul Ghani untuk memulakan sesi bengkel beliau. Dipersilakan Cikgu Abdul Ghani.
Okey. Selamat pagi Michelle.
Selamat pagi.
Selamat pagi kepada semua pelajar, khususnya pelajar-pelajar SPM 2021. Jadi pada pagi ini sekali lagi saya berterima kasih kepada Sunway College kerana menjemput saya untuk sharing. Kita nak berkongsi ilmu berkaitan dengan sejarah, khususnya sejarah KSSM. Yang sedia maklum, dalam perkongsian kita ini saya juga mengalalukan kehadiran rakan-rakan guru, pelajar tingkatan 5 dan ada juga pelajar tingkatan 4. Jadi sudah tentu perkongsian kita ini diharapkan, harapan saya lah pelajar boleh nampak pada skrin itu, harapan saya dalam masa 2 jam ini, kalau kita nak buat semua memang tak sempat. Pelajar boleh bertanya, saya cuba jawab berdasarkan pengalaman. Kalau tak boleh jawab, saya akan cuba mesej pelajar secara personal, sebab kadang-kadang saya juga ada perkara yang mungkin di luar pemikiran saya. Di akhirnya kita akan dapat sedikit mengetahui cara nak menguasai dan belajar, khususnya kertas 2. Sebab pemberatan kertas 2 ini ialah 100 markah. Berkaitan yang kedua adalah format yang terkini. Mungkin pelajar dah maklum, dah sedia maklum, ataupun ada lagi yang belum tahu. Sebab kita nak membezakan nanti bentuk soalan. Kertas 1 dan kertas 2. Yang ketiga, objektif dan harapan saya, pelajar di akhirnya dapat membezakan kaedah menjawab analitik dan holistik. Ini penting pelajar. Yang keempat, sedikit keban dan bimbingan serta kita menjawablah tajuk-tajuk yang terpilih. Dan yang terakhir, sekiranya ada Q&A dari pelajar lah. Jadi harapan saya dalam masa 2 jam ini kita dapat memeriahkan perkongsian kita di chat. Kalau pelajar tak faham, bertanya dan saya akan cuba membantu pelajar lah. Baik. Sebelum saya bergerak lebih jauh, saya ni adalah Cikgu Abdul Ghani, tak jauh jauh daripada Sunway College ni, daripada Batu Gajah, Perak. Pelajar boleh melihat perkongsian saya di YouTube, Santai Sejarah, nama sama. Juga boleh lihat perkongsian di Facebook ataupun di Telegram. Dan kalau kita lihat di sini pelajar, banyak perkongsian-perkongsian yang pelajar boleh dapat sebenarnya. Hari ini kalau kita nak cemerlang, kita nak kuasai subjek sejarah, cukup mudah. Berbanding dengan zaman saya, zaman Michelle dululah. Zaman itu kita tak ada teknologi di hujung jari. Pada hari ini, pelajar gunalah buku teks semaksimum. Zaman dulu tak ada buku teks online. Hari ini dah ada online. Okey. Dan yang kedua, kuasailah teknik menjawab ini. Khususnya teknik menjawab kertas 2. Sebab kertas 1 ini, pada saya, pelajar yang mengong atau tak tahu pun dia boleh jawab A, B, C, D kan. A, B, C. Tapi kertas 2, tak tahu dia tak boleh jawab. Itu simple. Yang ketiga, ini. dalam sistem pembelajaran kita ini, dalam pandemik COVID, lama kita tak belajar, lama kita berhenti, ada 3 medium yang pelajar boleh gunalah. Salah satunya kita gunalah video. Banyak cikgu-cikgu kita kongsi video, bukan khususnya video saya saja. Ramai cikgu-cikgu di luar yang buat video-video lagi hebat. Pelajar boleh tengok berulang kali dan boleh juga join grup perbincangan sama ada di Telegram atau WhatsApp, dan tuition ada yang percuma dan ada yang berbayar. Setakat ini kalau dengan saya free saja tengok free saja. Di Telegram tak ada bayaran untuk kita membantu anak-anak. Dan yang keempat, ini kita kena ingat bahawa kejayaan kita ni, kejayaan anak-anak, bukan saya, bukan Samsung, bukan Samsung handphone awak yang menentukan awak berjaya, bukan Sunway College, bukan guru. Yang menentukan kejayaan awak ialah tangan awak sendiri. Pilihan di tangan kita. Awak nak klik handphone, awak nak guna untuk chat apa saja, awak nak guna tangan untuk mencari video, awak nak guna tangan untuk menulis, terpulang kepada pelajar. Jadi saya pada hari ini pelajar, ini antara video-video saya. Pelajar mungkin dah ada yang dah tahu, mungkin ada lagi yang belum tahu. Saya berkongsi setiap subtopik. Pelajar mungkin boleh tengok kalau ada masa dan ruang. Ini tingkatan 4. Ini tingkatan 5. Saya dah share sampai bab 7. Hari ini saya akan masuk 7.3 untuk membantu anak-anak menguasai setiap subtopik. Kalau anak-anak tengok, saya mengajar ikut subtopik. SP 7.1, 7.2. Dan kita tengok untuk kita berkongsi ini, saya harap anak-anak bolehlah tengok, komen dan subscribe channel saya dan komen. Kalau cikgu cakap terlalu laju lah, saya tak faham dan sebagainya. Jadi, macam mana kita nak faham anak-anak? Hari ini kalau kita tengok KSSM tingkatan 5, untuk lulus di peringkat sekolah, pelajar perlu dapat sekurang-kurangnya 56 markah. 56 markah. 56 markah ini termasuk kertas 1 dan kertas 2. Termasuk kertas 1 dan kertas 2. Jadi kalau pelajar nak lulus, kertas 1 sebenarnya minimum ialah 16. Kita letaklah 16. Bermaksud 40 lah kertas 2 yang pelajar perlu dapat. Itu kita nampak. Sebab kertas 1 40%, kertas 2 100%, campur 2 bahagi 100, dapatlah markah berapa pelajar hari ini. Jadi beza dengan kakak-kakak dan abang kita KBSM, sebab dia ada persen. Kertas 2 berapa persen, kertas 1 berapa persen. Ini tak ada persen. Pelajar kena kuasai topik tertentu untuk lulus. Kalau nak lulus lah. Hari ini kita fikir lulus dulu, bukan cemerlang. Kalau nak cemerlang, lain ceritanya. Macam mana kita nak lulus? Hari ini cuba saya nak bantu pelajar. Macam mana kita nak memahami kaedah menjawab? Dah tentu kita tak dapat lari dan pelajar, kita kena faham tentang bentuk soalan dan format KSSM tingkatan 4 dan tingkatan 5. Ini tajuk pelajar. Ini tajuk. Kalau pelajar tengok, pelajar di YouTube pun tengok, inilah tajuk kita yang telah kita belajar. Mungkin pelajar hari ini baru sampai bab 6. Mungkin ada pelajar yang dah sampai bab 7. Tetapi saya yakin majoriti pelajar berada di tajuk 13. Kita dalam pandemik COVID ini pelajar, bab 1, 2, 3 kita PKP tahun lepas. PKP tahun lepas. Kita naik sekolah 4, 5, 6, 7, belum sampai bab 8, 9, 10 kita cuti balik. Ini kita kena terima. Jadi saya simpati, tapi kita kena terima. Bukan kita saja, bukan negara kita saja menghadapi COVID, negara lain pun sama. Dan kalau kita tengok, tengok di sini pelajar. Tajuk kita ini, saya dah mudahkan pelajar. Ini ialah tajuk tingkatan 4. Kalau pelajar tengok di sini, dalam tajuk tingkatan 4 ni, tengok dalam tajuk tingkatan 4, pelajar akan nampak tajuk 1. Tajuk 1, pelajar perlu catat ni. Kalau nak catat boleh catat lah ya. Tajuk 1, bab 1 dan bab 2 ini jangkaan saya lah ya. Jangkaan saya, jangkaan guru-guru lain. Di sini akan ada satu soalan. Satu soalan sama ada struktur atau esei. Ini anggakan kita lah ya. Sebab kita tak ada format yang sebenar lagi. Soalan macam mana. Dan soalan objektif dua bab ini dua. Bermaksud pelajar kalau kuasai di sini sudah dapat 14 ataupun 24. Itu kita nampak. Untuk tema tajuk yang kedua, kita ada berapa bab? Bab 3, bab 4, bab 5, bab 6. 4 bab. Kalau pelajar tengok di situ, banyak ada saya ingat ada mesej di chat tu ya. Okey. Kalau kita nak kuasai pelajar, suka saya ingatkan pelajar. Tajuk mana yang pelajar nampak yang paling mudah, yang paling dekat dengan kita? Itu yang kita pegang dulu. Ada pelajar kata, cikgu saya suka tajuk Jepun cikgu. Kalau tajuk Jepun ni ialah tajuk yang kedua, perjuangan ke arah kemerdekaan. Di sini panjang. Mungkin sebab soalan tingkatan 4 ini dia akan ada 2 esei minima, 2 struktur wajib. Mungkin mana tahu rezeki pelajar ada satu lagi soalan pada tajuk yang kedua ini. Ataupun pada tajuk yang ketiga. Jadi kita nak kuasai ini pelajar. Kalau setakat nak lulus, kalau pelajar kata, cikgu saya nak baca bab 7, 8, 9, 10. Okey, good. Kita pegang tajuk yang ketiga ini. Ini tajuk yang paling dekat dengan kita lah. Di mana tema ataupun key kepada soalan 3 ini ialah kemerdekaan, pilihan raya, perlembagaan. Kalau pelajar tengok 4 bab terakhir ni, pelajar kena faham tentang 3. Kemerdekaan, pilihan raya, proses pilihan raya yang pertama tahun 1950 berapa, 1951, 55, pilihan raya bandaran. Lepas tu kena faham tentang perlembagaan, iaitu tentang Suruhanjaya Raid. Barulah kita pergi kepada kemerdekaan. Dan SP ini, sukatan ataupun subtopik, dia tak banyak. Hanya ada, kalau kita tengok, 18 sahaja. Berbanding tajuk 2 yang SP-nya sangat banyak. Jadi bagi pelajar, pada pandangan cikgu lah kalau nak lulus, tolong kuasai tajuk inilah Dengan harapan tajuk lain, kita jangan tinggal. Sebab tajuk ini, katakan di sini satu soalan esei, 8 objektif, pelajar sudah dapat 28. 28 ni, bermaksud kalau 28 di sini, 28 tingkatan 5, pelajar dah dapat 56. Itu nampak. Itu dia punya sifir. Oh, cikgu saya nak kuasai macam mana cikgu? Saya tak tahu. Ini tingkatan 4. Tajuk yang kita dah tinggal lama dah. Okey. Bagi tajuk tingkatan 5. SP. Winesh tanya, apa itu SP? SP ni Winesh ialah standard pembelajaran ataupun senang kita cerita subtopik lah. Apa itu 1S? Jocelyn tanya di YouTube. 1S tu ialah soalan sama ada struktur atau esei. Yang warna biru ini adalah objektif. Cikgu dah letak kat gambar ni kan? Okey. Okey, Siti Nur Atikah, thank you. Ada cikgu tolong betulkan subtopik Okey. Pelajar. Yang ini cikgu dah letakkan di Telegram. Pelajar boleh tengok di Telegram nanti Cikgu letakkan di Telegram grafik ini. Okey. Ini tingkatan 4. Tingkatan 5, kalau kita tingkatan 5 samalah juga tingkatan 5 ini, pada pandangan cikgu, mungkin cikgu-cikgu di luar pun setuju, tajuk tingkatan 5 ni kalau kita tengok, dia lebih mudah. Kerana SP-nya sikit dan bab tajuk itu pendek. Tengok, macam bab, kalau kita tengok pembentukan Malaysia, 5, 6, ada 2 bab saja. Itu bab yang pertama ni sampai 13 Mei, bab yang 6 ni sampai 13 Mei kita belajar kan. Gagasan pembentukan Malaysia, sampai ada 11 saja. 7, 8 pun 11. Perpaduan dan integrasi nasional. Jadi antara tajuk pada pandangan cikgu lah kalau kita nak kuasai, tolong kita jangan tinggalkan 5, 6, 7, 8. Kerana tajuk ini pada pandangan cikgu, kebat mungkin membantu pelajar. Kebat mungkin membantu pelajar. Sebab berkaitan dengan pembentukan kemakmuran. Cuma bab 8 ni, kalau pelajar tengok, dia ada sedikit yang kita belajar berkaitan dengan dasar lah Tapi masih boleh kita kuasai. Telegram group, Telegram Azizah cikgu dah sharekan dekat atas. Nanti cikgu share lagi di bawah nanti Okey. Okey, setakat ini pelajar, di YouTube ada banyak pertanyaan. Di Zoom ni, ada tak pelajar yang bertanya? Tak ada lagi pelajar yang bertanya. Kalau nak bertanya boleh. Sambil-sambil tu cikgu jawab. Cikgu, kita tak payah tunggu di akhir Q&A baru nak bertanya. Senang. Kita habis sampai satu, cikgu cuba jawab. Telegram grup mana cikgu Azizah? Okey, cikgu saya letakkan di sini. Telegram Santai Sejarah SPM. Santai Sejarah SPM. Nanti cikgu akan bagilah. Okey. Tajuk ini pelajar dah tahu. Pelajar dah ada buku teks. Cikgu ulang lagi. Objektif kita ada 40 soalan. 20 tingkatan 4. 20 tingkatan 5. Tadi cikgu tunjukkan bab 7, 8, 9, 10. Pelajar katakan situ dapat 26. Tambah 5, 6, 7, 8. Katalah satu struktur di sini dapat 20 markah. Tambah lagi 28. 28 tambah 28, 56. Ini tajuk. Antara yang ramai tanya, cikgu macam mana? Kalau kita nak kuasai, kita kuasai bab ini. Bab lain kita jangan tinggal. Macam bab kedaulatan ni panjang. Bab kedaulatan ni dia link juga dengan bab 9 tingkatan 4. Dia sentiasa berkait-kait tajuk kita ni. Kalau pelajar tengok, kalau kita nak kuasai sejarah ni, kita tak boleh lari. Kita kena kait sana, kait sini untuk kita dapat jawapan. Baik. Kalau kita tengok, okay, inilah format kita. Aneka pilihan ni kita ada 40 soalan, cikgu pun dah terang dah tahun lepas. Tapi ada pula cikgu, saya belum buat lagi latihan kertas 1. Okey, tak apa. Kalau kita tengok situ tak ada masalah. Kertas 2, ini. Respon terhad. Terhad ni maksudnya soalan struktur. Ada 40 markah. Respon terbuka ialah esei ada 60 markah. Jawab 3 dari 5. Jangan kata cikgu, abang saya kata 7. 7 tu KBSM. Zaman itu 7 pilih 3. 4 tak ada. Zaman pelajar 5 pilih 3. Mungkin 3 tingkatan 5, 2 tingkatan 4 ataupun sebaliknya lah. Mana-mana. Itu kita tak tahu, kita jangan persoalkan. Itu tugas lembaga peperiksaan. Tugas pelajar, belajar dan menjawab. Dan kalau kita tengok, di peringkat objektif ni dia tak ada mencipta. Tapi peringkat esei dan struktur dia ada. Dan tadi cikgu dah tekankan kepada pelajar. Masa sama. Masa sama. Dan di bawah sekali tu. Ini ni. Dah ditekankan kepada pelajar. Kertas 2 sama ada struktur atau esei. Kena faham tentang analitik dan holistik. Jadi kita nak buat macam mana? Kita dah kena tahu, cikgu, analitik tu apa? Holistik tu apa? Nanti kita akan tengok. Bagi pelajar yang bertanya, link dekat paparan skrin tu di bawah tu dah ada link dia. Link untuk Telegram, link untuk YouTube. Jadi pelajar boleh tengok di situ. Cikgu tak tulis pun tak apalah. Pelajar boleh tengok. Okey. Okey. Ini soalan kita. Cikgu-cikgu pun share benda yang sama. Masa tingkatan 4, 10 markah. Cuma pelajar, cikgu minta lah, jangan hantar kertas kosong. Itu je. Hantar kertas kosong sebenarnya kesianlah awak belajar dalam sekolah 11 tahun. 11 tahun Kadika tak masuk begitu. Tetapi di akhirnya dalam subjek sejarah pelajar hantar kertas kosong. Jadi kita nampak di sini. Tingkatan 4 10. Soalan 1, 2 10. 2 tingkatan 4, 2 tingkatan 5. Sedangkan tajuk tingkatan 5 ni dia ada 4. Bermaksud 2 yang akan keluar soalan struktur, 2 lagi mungkin esei. Tingkatan 4 ada 3 tajuk. 2 tajuk struktur, satu lagi tu mungkin esei, dan ada juga tajuk struktur itu dia akan keluar dalam esei. Okey, setakat ini ada pertanyaan pelajar? Cikgu ada tip pembagian masa untuk kertas 2. Okey. Kertas 2, okey, berkaitan dengan masa ni, pelajar yang bertanya, terima kasih Nur Syabani Hamzah. Kalau kita tengok dari segi struktur dan esei. Esei 25 minit. Kalau kita tengok esei 25 minit untuk esei. Cikgu conteng di sini. Pelajar, dan 15 minit untuk struktur. Di YouTube, di Zoom mungkin dengar sajalah. Kalau kita ada masa 25 minit untuk kita jawab esei, 3 soalan esei kita jawab 1 jam 15 minit. 15 minit lagi kita buat rangka. Struktur, kalau satu soalan kita 15 minit, 15 darab 4 ialah 1 jam. Kita nampak situ 1 jam kalau kita tengok di situ. Yang lebihnya 1 jam tambah lagi 1 jam 15 minit, 2 jam 15 minit. Jadi kita nampak di situ masa 2 jam setengah. 15 minit lagi nak buat apa? 15 minit lagi pelajar bolehlah merangka, menyemak dan sebagainya. Kalau kita tengok di situ okey. Itu berkaitan, saya menjawab kot soalan yang ditanya oleh rakan di YouTube. Okey, good. Cikgu, esei kalau tak ingat fakta macam mana? Darwis tanya. Esei kalau tak ingat fakta, kita masih boleh dapat markah, khususnya kuasai kebat tu. Ingat kebat, struktur kebat, katakanlah kita anggapan satu soalan C tu kebat. 4 kali 4, 16 markah. Dan soalan esei kita anggaplah C tu kebat, 8 darab 3, 24. 24 tambah 16, kita ada berapa? Kita sudah ada lebih kurang dalam 40 markah. Untuk soalan kebat saja. Menguasai kebat itu pun sudah membantu pelajar untuk jadi, janganlah tak ingat fakta terus. Janganlah tak jawab soalan A dengan B. Soalan A dan B itu banyak membantu pelajar. Okey. Menjawab soalan Darwis. Okey, good. Ini contoh soalan. Cuba kita tengok soalan macam ini. Selalunya cikgu kita bagi tahu. Ini contoh soalan berkaitan dengan tajuk apa ni? Rundingan baling. Bab 5 atau bab 4 tingkatan 4. Dia berkait tu. Nyatakan pihak. Nampak soalan ini dia kata nyatakan pihak. Pihak tu hanya menanyakan soalan berdasarkan gambar ini saja. Di luar daripada gambar tak boleh. Jadi kita nampak di situ. Kata nyatakan pihak yang terlibat dalam rundingan tersebut. Siapa? Kotak 1 pihak mana? Kotak 2 pihak mana? Dan soalan huruf Roman, biasanya pelajar jawab pendek tapi ayat lengkap. Itu kalau teknik menjawab kita tekan kata teknik menjawab. Kalau soalan kedua, mengapa rundingan tersebut diadakan? Mengapa? Adakah ini kebat? Tidak. Dia tanya mengapa rundingan? Rundingan apa? Rundingan baling diadakan. Kita nampak rundingan baling diadakan kerana itu kita sambung. Kalau kita nak jawab. Dan C kita nampak. C ni kebatlah. Itu kita langkah-langkah untuk menghalang perkembangan ideologi yang menggugat keselamatan negara perlu diberikan ulasan. Ulasan saya ideologi apa? Mungkin kita tengok ideologi nak menubuhkan sebuah kerajaan yang lain. Ataupun dulu kita ada kerajaan Daesh, nak tubuh Daesh kan? Kita pernah ada banyak fahaman-fahaman. Macam mana kita nak menghalang perkembangan ideologi ini? Pertama, melalui pendidikan. Bila kita ada pendidikan agama yang kukuh, pendidikan agama yang kuat, maka datanglah macam mana pun kita ada satu halangan. Ada border yang menghalang. Kita kena banyak baca. Apa lagi jawapan? Banyak membaca. Kita jangan tertutup minda kita. Bila kita banyak baca, kita tahulah di luar sana apa yang bagus, apa yang betul, apa yang salah. Okey, kita tengok soalan di chat. Cikgu, insurans maksud insurans bukan insurans. Inference. Inference tu kesimpulan. Good, Tio. Soalan di Zoom ni bertanya, inference. Inference tu kesimpulan. Kalau tak sempat jawab soalan esei, kena tolak markah. Memang tolak lah, tak jawab. Bukan tolak markah. Tak ada markah lah. Tolak ni kalau awak jawab, salah. Tolak lah. Tak ada markah lah. Okey. Kalau jawab lengkap, macam mana untuk soalan 1? Soalan 1 ini dijawab lengkap. Pendek saja. Kita jawab pendek sahaja. Bermaksud, kita jawablah dengan ayat lengkap, tapi pendek. Berbeza dengan soalan esei. Tengok. Pelajar dapat soalan esei, masa 90 minit. Kalau kita tengok situ, okey, Hafizul tanya tip untuk kebat. Lepas ni kita masuk. Fizul, belum masuk lagi. Sabar. Boleh ada letak kopi di sebelah dulu. Lepas ni kita akan masuk kebat. Sekarang kita masih di peringkat awal berkaitan dengan soalan struktur, respon terhad dan respon terbuka. Kebat belum sampai, Fizul. Cepat benar macam nak habis tadi. Baik. Respon terbuka, nama pun respon terbuka, pelajar kena open minded. Kena banyak baca. Kena banyak ulang kaji. Fernando tanya, cikgu, adakah penulisan penting dalam esei? Kita memang jawab esei dalam soalan esei ni, nama pun esei lah dan tidak digalakkan pelajar jawab dalam bentuk point form. Walaupun point form tu ayat tu lengkap, kita tak tahu skema itu macam mana. Jadi pelajar kena berlatih lah. Jawablah macam BM, ada intro, jawablah macam sedikit ada kata hubung, penanda wacana dan sebagainya. Nanti kita masuk. Kebanyakan pelajar ni yang bertanya ni, kebanyakannya dia dah tahu. Macam Jafarullah. Cikgu, inference tu kesimpulan ke? Yalah. Kesimpulan. Good. Banyak pertanyaan. Cikgu, hari ni buka 2 device ni. 2 laptop buka. 3 sekali dengan handphone. Ada pelajar bertanya dia handphone. Tak apalah, kita hari ni kan kita nak sharing. Nak bertanya tak apa. Okey. Ini contoh kita 2. Cuba pelajar tengok. Kalau pelajar tengok di sini, ini ialah bab 1. Berdasarkan raja di atas, jelaskan sistem pentadbiran. Nama sistem itu. Sistem pembesar 4 lipatan. Dapat 1 markah. Di mana sistem ini, cerita ke bawah, kita masuk uraian. Dalam sistem pembesar 4 lipatan tu apa ada? Tu kita nampak. Okey. Soalan A, fakta. B, fakta. Dan C, kita tengok ialah kebat. C tu kebat lah. Kesultanan Melayu Melaka asas kepada bina negara hari ini. Ya, asas lah. Khususnya berkaitan dengan raja. Sambung sampai hari ini kan. Kalau kita tengok tugas-tugas yang ada dulu di zaman itu pun, hari ini masih ada. Macam bendahara. Hari ini umpama Perdana Menteri. Asas lah tu. Dalam sistem itu. Okey. Ada lagi yang tanya tu. Ya, cikgu guna perdana bacaan good. Cikgu esei 8 markah, ada tips tak cara nak jawab? Nanti kita akan sampai. Belum sampai lagi ni. InsyaAllah. Good. Banyak pertanyaan ni. Okey. Kita tengok ada tak pertanyaan di Zoom. Cikgu, yang penting untuk jawab esei adalah fakta atau perkataan yang banyak. Bukan perkataan, Tanusha. Fakta. Fakta, huraian, contoh. Kalau ada benda itu, dia mempengaruhilah. Kalau ayat banyak, sampai 3 muka surat kita buat, udah macam mini tesis tapi tak ada menjawab soalan, tak boleh. Pada bahagian esei, kena pilih 3 soalan yang ABC atau nombor soalan. Okey, baik. Nur Janah tanya, cikgu pada bahagian esei kena pilih 3 soalan yang A, B, C. Ya. A, apa dia? Jawab. Kalau tulis, situ kita nampak. Janah A, 5A. Apa dia? B, C. Tapi kalau dah tak tahu semua, pastikan kita jawablah semua C. Dengan harapan membantulah pelajar-pelajar kita untuk mendapat markah yang baik. Itu kita nampak. Okey. Okey, setakat ini, bagus. Banyak pertanyaan di YouTube, banyak pertanyaan di di chat. Baru kita masuk di sini ni. Jadi cikgu, Intan pula tanya, kalau esei tak kisah, ini bukan karangan. Yang penting kalau soalan itu dia nak 6 markah, kita bagilah sekurang-kurangnya. Kalau jelaskan ni, jelaskan. Nanti kita tengok soalan. Cikgu ambil contoh soalan ini. Bagaimana undang-undang tersebut dapat memantapkan sistem pentadbiran? Dia nak undang-undang. Kalau pelajar tengok soalan ini, dia nak undang-undang, ada 2 undang-undang ini. Di sini pelajar kena jawab tentang hukum kanun Melaka dan undang-undang laut Melaka. Minimum 3 hukum kanun, 3 undang-undang laut. Kita kena huraikan situ. Lebih tak apa. Jangan kurang daripada soalan itu. Itu kita tengok. Kita tengok kepada soalan. Bukan kita tengok pada jumlah perkataan yang kita jawab. Okey. Apa beza fakta dengan contoh? Ada beza lah. Syabani fakta tu contohnya hukum, kita katakan bagaimana undang-undang memantap hukum kanun Melaka. Hukum kanun Melaka ialah undang-undang di darat. Kena cerita sikit. Manakala undang-undang laut Melaka hanya, nampak? Ada beza situ, itu fakta lah. Kalau kita bagi contoh undang-undang laut, contohnya, cikgu jawab esei mesti contoh ke? Yang biasanya kalau ada contoh, lebih bagus dan mengukuh jawapan kita. Kita tengok situ Okey. Baru habis satu bahagian pelajar. Kalau kita tengok di situ pelajar, kalau kita nak kuasai, cikgu ulang balik. Pastikan respon terhad 4 soalan. Pelajar jawablah ke 4. Tak ada pilihan soalan 1, soalan 2, soalan 3, soalan 4. Jawab semua. Jangan, cikgu Gani kata, pilih 3. Pilih 3 itu soalan respon terbuka. Esei. Macam mana kita nak ingat fakta setiap bab kalau soalan struktur? Aina. Dia nak ingat fakta ni, macam kita tengok, kita nak ingat lagu lah. Kalau kita nyanyi selalu lagu tu, selalulah kita ingat. Kalau kita tengok cerita tu 2-3 kali, cerita wayang kan, kita dah boleh cerita kat orang. Samalah dengan buku teks. Kalau kita baca banyak kali, kita ulang banyak kali, mesti kita ingat fakta. Okey. Yana tanya mesti ada fakta contoh huraian inferen. Inferen hanya untuk soalan kebat. Bukan soalan fakta. Contoh macam ini. Soalan A tak ada inferen. Soalan B tak perlu inferen. Soalan C. Kesimpulannya, kalau kita tak tahu pun, kesimpulannya ialah sistem pentadbiran ini telah menjadi sumber rujukan utama kepada pembinaan negara bangsa kita hari ini, dan itu maksudnya inferen lah. Fakta kurang lengkap, Hanis tanya, ayat tergantung ada potensi tak? Pelajar jawab sahaja, pemeriksa lah menentukan markah itu ada atau tak ada. Kalau awak tak jawab, siapa nak takkan pemeriksa nak nulis pula? Kesian budak ni terusan cantik. Tolong. Tak boleh lah. Awak kena tulis. Kalau ayat tergantung, tak ada perdana wacana ke, intro tak ada pun, kalau fakta tu masih ada, adalah markahnya. Jangan hantar kertas kosong, tulis doa. Tulis kepada pemeriksa yang kucintai. Habislah. Tak dapat apa lah. Okey. Okey, jelas Okey, habis kita. Barulah kita nak masuk ni. Soalan respon terhad dan terbuka ni. Okey. Kalau pelajar tengok respon terhad, okey, pelajar turun berikan tumpuan di sini. Kita dah sampai kepada bahagian kita nak memahami berkaitan dengan analitik dan holistik. Kita tengok respon terhad. Terhad ni maksudnya Yang disoal itu hanya berdasarkan fakta yang pelajar belajar. Dalam buku teks, bukan dalam buku rujukan, buku teks. Itu sebab buku teks kita ni jadikan sebagai kitab utama awak. Kitab utama. Kalau pelajar tengok, kalau kita nak tengok di sini, kalau saya sharekan pelajar, kalau kita nak perkasakan buku teks, saya tunjuk pelajar macam inilah. Kita nak perkasakan buku teks. Mana kita nak perkasakan buku teks. Saya tunjuk contoh pada pelajar sekejap. Macam mana kita gunakan buku teks secara semaksimum yang boleh. Mana saya letak ni? Okey. Katakanlah kita letak macam inilah pelajar. Ini buku teks kita ni kan? Nampak kosong aja. Kalau kita nampak kosong macam ini, apa yang seronoknya buku teks kita? Kalau kita tengok buku teks kita, ini beza tak? Oh, yang ini ada conteng-conteng. Ini buku teks cikgu ngajar conteng lah. Dia beza pelajar. Oh, kalau tengok sini. Oh, tengok. Macam mana buku teks ini membantu kita? Dekat buku teks tu pelajar, dia apa? Ada fakta, huraian, contoh. Selalu cikgu kalau mengajar nampak. Okay, pelajar, warna biru ni fakta. Warna hijau ni, ini huraian. Contoh warna merah. Jadi pelajar kalau tengok buku teks, jangan conteng buku teks awak. Conteng buku teks online tu. Mungkin awak dah print atau nota awak print. Macam ini bila kita nak baca, kita pun seronok. Oh, datang soalan macam mana pun. Oh, boleh jawab macam ni. Jelaskan, terangkan, buktikan, setujukah anda? Dah ada key dah. Inilah yang cikgu kata kita perkasakan buku teks. Baca buku teks elok-elok supaya kita dapat apa? Maklumat itu jelas. Barulah kita boleh menguasai sejarah. Sejarah ni kita kena kuasai. Barulah kita boleh feel. Ada feel. Okey, ada lagi soalan pertanyaan situ. Fakta Undang-Undang Laut Melaka. Okey, good Aziza. Pandai pun Cikgu Aziza ni kau Ana macam mana nak tulis inference? Belum masuk Ana dia ni. Inference ni kesimpulan ni. Okey, good. Terima kasih banyak. Okey. Ada tak soalan di Zoom? Kita tengok juga. Cikgu ada 4 soalan kena jawab 2 atau semua? Soalan struktur parani kena jawab semua. Cikgu kalau SPM saya jawab ke 4 soalan. Boleh jawab esei 4 soalan. Cuma cikgu takut pembagian masa awak dah tak lengkap lah. Kita dah bagi 4. Tadi kita bagi 3, 25 minit, 25 minit. Sekarang kita dah bagi 4. Jadi pembagian masa tu dah lari. Jadi dia mempengaruhi lah juga masa fakta huraian awak. Bukan senang Kita nak ada 5M Membaca, kita baca soalan. Lepas tu kita nak buat apa? Kita nak menggaris. Nak garis, kata tugas. Apa dia nak? Ini kata tugas dia. Ini key soalan dia. Dah garis, kita kena rangka. Dah rangka, kita kena jawab. Dah jawab, kita kena semak. Jadi, dia banyak masa. Kalau pelajar dah jawab soalan esei sampai 4 atau 5, jadi dia dah mempengaruhi masa awak. Okey jadi perkasakan buku teks, insya-Allah kita boleh. Good. Tengok di sini. Bentuk soalan, tindakan pelajar. Nampak yang bawah yang hijau ni. Dia kata bezakan huruf Roman dan esei. Nanti kita tengok. Huruf Roman tu dia ada 1, 2, 3 ataupun A, B, C kecil tu dia dah bagi tahu dalam sebaran. Di peringkat sekolah, di peringkat guru-guru dah ada. Jadi pelajar kena alert lah. Benda-benda itu. Stimulus. Apa itu stimulus? Bahan rangsangan. Kena baca. Saya kena baca bahan rangsangan. Nilai. Nanti kita akan tengok cara nak jawab nilai itu macam mana. Cikgu masa nak jawab tarikh peristiwa. Kalau tarikh peristiwa awak hafal, awak tahu macam Profesor Serba tahu, macam gambar di belakang saya tu. Ada kawan saya tulis. Lukis Cikgu Din. Terima kasih Cikgu Din lukis. Hari ini saya letak sebagai background. Kalau awak profesor, semua tahu tahun tarikh tulislah. Kalau tak tahu jangan rasa galat pula tak jawab. Okey. Contoh sini, tengok pelajar. Kita dapat soalan, mengapa kegiatan persatuan penting dalam kehidupan kita? Ini soalan yang boleh kita kaitkan dengan bab 1 tingkatan 4. Kita boleh kaitkan juga dengan bab 3 tingkatan 5, bab 4 tingkatan 5. Okey, dapat soalan macam ini. Markahnya 4. Okey, kalau kita tengok di sini, mengapa? Kegiatan persatuan, cuba tengok. Kita tengok ada kata tanya, ada pangkal ayat di mana kita nak ambil. Tengok markah, oh dia nak markah berapa? Nak markah 4. Jadi terus kita faham, oh dia nak markah 4, kita nak jawab macam mana? Cikgu dah bagi tahu tadi 5M. Membaca, kita baca. Menggaris, kita garislah isi penting. Kita merangka, menjawab dan menyemak. Ini contoh jawapan, tapi tidak berapa cantik. Cuba kita tengok jawapan ini. Ini jawapan pelajar buat, cikgu tulis semula. Past year question untuk bentuk soalan. Okey, si Wilia tanya past year question. Ada bab yang tingkatan 5 dan tingkatan 4 sama dengan KBSM. Sama dengan KSSM. Boleh jawab soalan, tak ada salah. Tak ada salah. Untuk kita menjawab, apa masalahnya? Tapi eloklah kita jawab soalan KSSM. Sebab ada beberapa term tu ada sedikit penambahan. Nampak? Okey, kembali kepada soalan kita. Intro, warna merah. Mewujudkan perpaduan dan kerjasama dalam persatuan. Dapat 2 markah di situ. Selain itu, Nana Wacana, untuk mewujudkan sikap bertoleransi, huraian agar dapat mewujudkan kestabilan. Sampai sini dah cukup. Markah 4. Cuma tak cantik lah soalan ini. Sebab dia tak ada contoh. Tak apalah. Cikgu anggap jawapan ini menarik. Cikgu ambil balik dan cikgu ubah sikit. Boleh. Mungkin ada harapan dia dapat 4. Mungkin boleh bantu daripada dia menghantar kertas kosong saja. Soalan bertanya, SPM keluar tingkatan 5 dan tingkatan 4 saja. Yalah, takkan nak keluar tingkatan 1, 2, 3. Jenuh lah kalau keluar 1, 2, 3 dalam SPM. Okey. Okey, ini soalan tadi. Jadi kita dah jawab. Cuba tengok, saya ambil sikit daripada rakan saya, Cikgu Syam buat ni. Cuba pelajar jawab. Namakan 2 peringkat dalam sistem pentadbiran Kesultanan Melayu Melaka. Cuba jawab pelajar. Tulis jawapan di chat. Tulis jawapan di chat Zoom dan chat YouTube. Ini kita masih dalam respon terhad. Cuba jawab. Namakan 2 peringkat dalam sistem pentadbiran. Okey, cuba jawab soalan ini. T. Ziuzian tanya, cikgu kalau kebat macam mana? Boleh masuk kebat, nanti saya akan masuk. Okey, kita cuba tumpukan kepada sini. Namakan 2 peringkat dalam sistem pentadbiran Kesultanan Melayu Melaka. Jawab soalan ini dulu. Ada yang jawab apa tu? Undang-undang laut, peringkat pusat, peringkat jajahan. Good. Parwazi jawab berpusat, jajahan. Kita tengok di Zoom, peringkat pusat dan jajahan. Good. Kalau kita tengok di situ, pelajar. Pentadbiran pusat. Good. Bagus pelajar yang jawab. Satu lagi jajahan. Maksudnya pelajar dah bersedia. Pelajar dah baca. Okey. Peranan utama 4 pembesar utama ni. Ini jangan tak tahu ni. Bendahara sama dengan jawatan Perdana Menteri kita hari ini. Kalau kita tengok, apa tugas bendahara? Menguruskan sistem pembendaraan. Bendahara ketua pentadbir. Good ko. Dia kata menguruskan sistem pembendaraan. Itu perlu bendahari. Okey. Pemangku sultan, bendahara. Good. Pemangku sultan, ramai jawab. Menarik ni jawapan ni. Okey, good. Ramai dah bersedia. Kalau kita tengok jawapan di situ, banyak pelajar jawab betul lah. Bendahara ni kalau kita tengok, dia ialah ketua pentadbir, ketua angkatan tentera. Ada 2 saja. Pemangku sultan tu pun diterima. Contohnya bendahara Tun Perak, dia telah menjadi pelantik sultan. 4 sultan dia. Baik, penghulu bendahari menguruskan perbandaraan. Temenggung, ini selalu pelajar salah. Temenggung dengan Laksmana, apa beza dia? Temenggung dengan Laksmana. Yap kata menjaga Kota Melaka. Yang jaga Kota Melaka ni siapa? Temenggung ke Laksmana ni? Temenggung ketua polis Sates, tepat lah senang cerita Temenggung ni dia darat lah. Laksmana di laut. Senang. Kalau kita tengok di situ pelajar, keselamatan Kota Melaka ataupun ketua darat ataupun ketua polis. Good. Mana-mana Laksmana Angkatan Laut. Pelajar nampak kenapa jawapan dia pendek? Dia pendek sebab ada huruf Roman. Sebab ada huruf Roman ni. Bila ada huruf Roman, ini pelajar jawablah dengan pendek tapi ayat lengkap. Ada pelajar on mic tu boleh off mic Okey. Dan soalan kebat. Jelaskan faktor mempengaruhi keuntulan. Maksudnya soalan sini, apa faktor yang menunjukkan Melaka ini jadi agung? Apa faktor? Ada pelajar tolong off mic Cikgu kalau nak jawab soalan ni patut tulis 2 jawapan itu atau sahaja. Jawab lebih tak apa form. Jangan kita risau. Sebab tapi jawapan satu saja, jawab lebih. Kalau kita takut kita jawab lebih. Okey. Okey, kita jawab sekarang, kita pergi pada soalan C. Dia nak faktor saja Maksudnya fakta saja. Faktor yang mempengaruhi keunggulan pentadbiran Kesultanan Melayu Melaka ialah kalau tengok situ. Hubungan baik ataupun ketaatannya sultan dengan pembesar. Pembesar taat pada sultan. Kita tengok contohnya dalam peristiwa Laksmana hantuah Mandarhaka. Bendahara bunuh Laksmana kan? Oh hebat Mana kita nak jumpa sebab pantang anak Melayu Mandarhaka kan? Ini antara jawapan-jawapan dia lah. Yang pelajar perlu jawab dalam esei lengkap. Tapi bukan jawab macam ini. Kena jawab dalam esei lengkap. Ini soalan respon terhad. Kita tengok sistem pentadbiran. Lawina good. Sistem pentadbiran yang teratur, bentuk muka bumi, faktor penting yang mempengaruhi. Kena hati-hati tu Sebab dia kata pentadbiran, jadi bentuk muka bumi tu hemat tak kena. Dia nak berkaitan dengan pentadbiran saja. Kita cerita berkaitan dengan pentadbiran. Undang-undang pun kena hati-hati dengan ayat tu lah. Pelaksanaan undang-undang mengukuhkan sistem pentadbiran. Mungkin ayat itu dia lebih cantik untuk kita mengukuhkan jawapan. Okey. Menarik. Di YouTube pun agak menarik juga. Contoh soalan esei, setiap fakta perlukan contoh. Kalau ada contoh ni, tulislah contoh. Kalau ada contoh, buat contoh. Kita jawab mana yang boleh kita jawab. Kita jangan hantar kertas kosong. Yang penting kita jawab. Sekarang masalah pelajar hantar kertas kosong. Itulah jadi masalah kita tu Kesian pelajar. Tak kesian pada cikgu. Okey, saya minum sekejap. Sorry. Okey. Habis respon terhad kita nampak situ Okey, mana-mana yang munasab. Okey, ada nak tanya tentang respon terhad? Cikgu tengok okey, ramai di YouTube pentadbiran yang sistematik. Soalan ini dia minta tentang pentadbiran saja. Syarwat Syarwadah Menon. Dia minta tentang pentadbiran. Jadi kita kena faham. Itulah key kepada soalan tu. Kita kena garis. Kita garis. Kalau jawab lebih tak kena potong markah, tak potong. Kita bukan ada istilah potong-potong markah. Kita semak berdasarkan fakta dan skema. Ikatan persamaan antara rakyat dan pemerintah boleh diterima. Good. Baguslah Jafrullah tu. Ikatan tu maksudnya ketaatan antara rakyat kepada pemerintah. Okay, good. Respon terhad. Next kita nak pergi pada respon terbuka. Ini soalan esei. Ingat jawab 3 soalan. Tadi pelajar kata, cikgu saya nak jawab lebih. Kamu nak jawab lebih terpulang. Tapi bila kita jawab lebih, pemberatan masa kita dah lari. Tadi guru bagi tahu kan, soalan struktur, kalau kita tengok 25 minit, soalan esei 25 minit, darab 3 1 jam 15 minit. Ada lagi balance 15 minit. Takkan 15 minit balance tu awak nak pusing pen je, pusing pen, tengok kawan. Itu masa kita semak. Tapi kalau kita gunakan masa itu, kita jawab 4 soalan, cikgu 5 soalan ni semua saya tahu. Saya nak jawab juga. Awak nak jawab juga, saya nak cakap macam mana. Saya tak boleh kata apalah. Ada pelajar mesej di Telegram sekejap. Saya hari ini, okey. Okey, okey. Kita masuk respon terbuka. Calon bebas menjawab kehendak soalan. Pilih. Awak nak pilih soalan tingkatan 4 ke? Awak nak pilih soalan tingkatan 5? Dan cuma saya pesan, sebelum kita jawab, kita kena tengok A ni kalau saya jawab boleh tak boleh. Okey, A ni boleh. B boleh. Campur 2. A dengan B ni campur 2 dapat 16. Awak kira semua 5 soalan tu, mana yang pemberatan markah paling tinggi. Itulah yang awak jawab. Itulah yang kita jawab. Jangan kita pakai jawab, dah jawab A, kosong B, kosong C. Soalan 2 jawab B. Jadi kita nampak pelajar seolah-olah dia tak ada kemahiran teknik. Hari ini bukan saya nak tekankan teknik menjawab sangat. Saya nak tekankan tentang sebaran. Teknik mungkin kita akan buat dalam bulan, tak silap saya dalam bulan 10. Kita akan buat. Baik, kata tugas dan yang bawah ni. Analitik dan holistik. Ini penting. Ini penting. Kerana apa saya kata penting? Pelajar, kalau kita tengok ketiga-tiga ini, kalau kita kuasai, cikgu ambil contoh satu soalan daripada buku iPro. Pelajar boleh dapatkan buku iPro ni di pasaran. Ini macam iklan pula. Iklan sikit. Baik. Tengok sini soalan. Berdasarkan soalan, fakta, huraian, contoh. Cuba tengok cara jawapan ni. Tengok situ. Untuk memastikan undang-undang soalan, cikgu terus letak situ. Cikgu agak potong soalan dia. Cikgu nak minta pelajar di sini nak tunjukkan macam mana kita jawab soalan ada fakta, ada huraian, ada contoh. Kalau kita jawab macam ini, jawapan kita tu menariklah. Kalau budak cemerlang, dia rasa semua jawapan dia lengkap. Lepas tu dia nak jawab lebih, dapat ke markah cikgu untuk jawab soalan keempat. Itu cikgu Zaleha tadi. Persana saya gitulah. Kalau dia nak jawab, boleh. Tak salah, 5 pun boleh jawab. Cuma kita takut pemberatan masa tu. Sepatutnya dia dapat, kalau jawab 3 tu, dia mesti lebih masa jawab dengan baik. Kalau 4, dia kena bagi 4. Kalau 5, dia dah kena bagi 5. Tapi kalau pelajar cemerlang, dia nak jawab je. Dia ngelepong ngelejat semacam je. Tak jawab tu dia rasa apa? Rasa tak puas hati. Rasa macam nak koyak-koyak ketek. Jawablah. Tak boleh tidur pula. Jadi kita tengok cara-cara kita menjawab esei ni. Ada fakta, ada huraian, ada contoh. Ini saya laju sikit lah. Ini saya lajukan sikit. Sebab kita nak pergi pada bahagian soalan nanti. Contoh. Okey. Jadi saya dah bincangkan kepada pelajar 2 benda utama. Satu berkaitan dengan bentuk soalan. Respon terhad, respon terbuka. Panjang kita tengok. Kita dah kena bezakan. Pelajar kena jawab dan pastikan jawapan kita betul menepati kehendak soalan. Tetapi pada saya, antara yang paling penting untuk pelajar kuasai ialah kebat. Ini 2019 bahan. Lama saya masukkan balik. Kita kena faham kebat ni apa. Cikgu, kebat ni apa? Kebat ini, dia akan membantu pelajar jawab soalan. Khususnya pelajar yang ada kemahiran M. M tu apa? Dia kemahiran membaca dia tinggi. Kemahiran menguasai fakta. Kemahiran mengingat fakta dia tinggi. Kebat mempengaruhi. Tapi kalau dia tak boleh baca, dia tak akan dapat kebat. Fakta pun dia tak jawab. Jawab kebat macam mana? Dan kita tengok sini. Kebat, dia namanya luar kotak. Melangkaui bahan buku kita. Maksudnya mungkin daripada akhbar, mungkin daripada sumber-sumber mana, tapi sumber sahih diletakkan sebagai stimulus untuk bantu pelajar jawab. Dua, dia ada bahan rangsangan. Nanti kita tengok. Saya buka. Bahan rangsangan untuk membantu pelajar. Dia ada bahan rangsangan. Itu kita panggil sebagai stimulus. Yang ketiga, inilah. Soalan yang disoal itu pelajar, dia sebenarnya dia sudah ada dalam kehidupan kita seharian. Dia dah ada. Cuma tugas pelajar, disiplin kita macam mana kita nak menyelesaikan soalan itu. Itu kita kena faham tu ya. Haniscape, target yang paling banyak menyumbang markah. Good. Okey. Konteks bukan lazim. Luar lah. Aras pemikiran, cikgu lajukan. Okey. Contoh soalan macam inilah pelajar. Kalau pelajar nampak. Ini antara contoh soalan respon terhad. Respon terhad. Mengapa hubungan pemerintah dan rakyat penting mengekalkan? Tadi pelajar kaitkan. Bila hubungan rakyat dengan pemerintah tu baik, secara tidak langsung Melaka semakin gah di mata dunia. Itu kita nampak. Sekarang kita nak jawab itu. Bila hubungan rakyat dengan pemerintah baik, apa jadi? Pentadbiran akan semakin teratur. Bila pentadbiran teratur, ini kebat ya. Dia berkait dengan ekonomi. Pentadbiran bagus, ekonomi kita akan berkembang. Pentadbiran bagus, ekonomi berkembang, tengok pula sosialnya. Hubungan masyarakat semakin rapat dan hidup bersatu padu. Secara tak langsung, nampak? Kita nak kaitkan dengan kedaulatan ni. Ia dapat mengekalkan kemerdekaan negara. Selalunya kebat ini pelajar. Kalau kita tak tahu, selalu cikgu ingatkan pelajar. Tolong tengok kepada faktor ekonomi, politik, sosial. Dia banyak berkait di situ. Cuba kita tengok di sini pelajar. Pelajar pun nampak soalan tu kan. Tanggungjawab bersama. Keselamatan negara semakin kukuh. Hubungan erat. Politik stabil. Samalah. Kalau kita faham dari segi politik, faham dari segi ekonomi, faham dari segi sosial, kita akan dapat jawab itu. Itu. Hati-hati itu sebagai tip juga tu kalau jawab macam ni, Jadi itu gunanya kita ada kemahiran. Yang ketiga itu merangka. Membaca, menggaris, merangka. Kalau kemahiran itu ada, pelajar boleh jawab dengan baik. Itu. Okey, cuba jawab soal ini pelajar. Tulis. Ini baru belajar. Kita belajar dalam bab 3. Kita belajar dalam bab 9. Kita belajar dalam bab 4. Tingkatan 5. Okey. Cikgu minta pelajar cuba tulis fakta saja. Keluarkan fakta dulu. Institusi raja berperlembagaan di negara kita hendaklah dipertahankan. Okey, cuba pelajar keluarkan fakta. Keluarkan fakta. Kalau ada. Keluarkan fakta kepada soalan kita ni dulu. Cikgu tunggu. Take time. Tengok pelajar keluar. Institusi raja berperlembagaan negara kita hendaklah dipertahankan. Berikan alasan anda. Hafizul, kertas 3. Cikgu Gani, kertas 3 sejarah dah tiada dalam. Tak ada, KSSM tak ada 3. KSSM hanya ada kertas 1 dan kertas 2. Okey, Darwis kata, raja sebagai lambang agama Islam. Okey, bagus. Jadi ada uraian di situ. Ia sejajar dengan kita apa? Islam sebagai bagus cerita itu. Raja berkuasa mutlak tak boleh lah. Hanis, raja sebagai lambang perpaduan. Good, Hanis. Jawapan pertama Hanis kita tak terima lah. Okey. Kalau di Zoom, kita tengok jawapan di sini. Lambang perpaduan. Imej negara dapat dipelihara. Hal ini negara kita mempunyai 9 orang sultan Negara lain salah Syarwin. Negara lain mana ada sultan? Kena betulkan jawapan tu Syarwin. Fakta atas sudah betul. Huraian tu salah. Mengekalkan kedaulatan good, identiti negara okey. Supaya negara kita tak dijajah okey sebab nampak menarik jawapan pelajar. Kedudukan Yang Bertanggung sebagai ketua negara dapat dikekalkan. Good. Bermaksud pelajar di sini. Jawapan kita, ramai pelajar boleh dapat fakta yang baik. Tapi oleh kerana ini soalan kebat, maka kita kena ada sambung dengan huraian, dengan contoh dan inferen. Kita latih inferen. Mungkin tak semua jawapan tu ada inferen kan? Kita latih. Inferen kesannya lah. Bila kita dah ada ini, apa kesan? Ramai pelajar jawab dah. Kesannya tadi, apa dia? Dapat memastikan ekonomi negara dan politik semakin dihormati oleh negara luar. Dah ada pelajar jawab tadi. Good. Ramai dah pelajar bagi inferen yang baik. Okey, raja sebagai lambang Nuraya. Good. Kalau kita tengok di sini pelajar, itu kita faham soalan ini. Dia pelajar kena faham institusi raja. Itu key dia. Bila pelajar dah faham, kalau kita tengok, fakta dia apa? Dia nak berkaitan dengan kenapa institusi itu dipertahankan. Huraian dia. Huraian mesti kaitkan dengan fakta yang kita bagi tadi. Kalau kita katakan raja sebagai lambang perpaduan. Di mana tu nak masuk huraian lah. Raja memastikan semua kaum di Malaysia yang terdiri daripada berbagai kaum. Contoh, bagi contoh pelbagai kaum pula. Apa dia? Itu huraian. Huraian dia menerangkan kembali kepada fakta tadi. Baik. Bila kita dah ada, barulah kita bagi contoh. Contoh mesti berkait. Dan yang terakhir, barulah kita masuk kepada inferen. Kesimpulannya, bila ini kukuh, apa jadi kepada negara kita? Negara kita semakin dihormati, semakin dipandang tinggi. Negara kita akan semakin masyarakat nampak. Status kata masyarakat dapat hidup dengan aman dan damai, tidak takut dengan serangan negara lain. Good. Takut buat apa? Sebab negara kita dah bersatu padu. Bagus. Atik kata supaya negara kita tidak menjadi huru-hara. Itulah raja ini sebagai lambang. Good, pelajar. Nampaknya pelajar hari ini sebenarnya sudah menguasai fakta dengan baik. Cikgu, kenapa cikgu banyak guna bab satu? Sebab ada pelajar sebahagian kecil kita dalam 15 ke 20% yang berada dalam kelas kita hari ini ialah pelajar tingkatan 4. Jadi tak adalah cikgu ambil tajuk tingkatan 5. Tapi cikgu kaitkan juga dengan tajuk tingkatan 5 yang pelajar sedang ataupun telah belajar. Okey. Dapat jawab dengan baik. Bila kita dapat jawab macam ini, jawab dalam esei, jangan jawab dalam bentuk poin. Seeloknya setiap perenggan ada fakta, huraian dan contoh. Itu senang. Itu kalau boleh. Kalau jawapan yang baik, fakta, huraian, contoh. Fakta, huraian, inferen kita letak di bawah. Inferen boleh berada di mana-mana. Kenapa? Kalau ada di bawah, lagi bagus. Senang. Pemeriksa tengok, ini inferen. Tapi kalau tak ada, pemeriksa dia akan cari di mana inferen awak. Jangan risau. Cikgu saya letak inferen di perenggan pertama boleh? Boleh. Perenggan kedua? Boleh. Cuma jangan tak letak langsung. Itu saja. Letaklah di mana-mana pun. Dia akan bantu pelajar. Okey. Ada lagi? Terima kasih Hasani, Rosna. Okey, ada lagi. Institusi raja dipertahankan di negara kita hendaklah pertahankan merupakan identiti negara. Jangan perlu tanya. Identiti negara kita yang diwarisi sejak Kesultanan Melayu Melaka. Okey, bagus. Jawapan menarik. Sambung lagi. Yang kini kesultanan itu telah diwarisi oleh negeri mana? Sebut negeri-negeri yang masih meneruskan institusi daripada Melaka. Contohnya Perak. Itu kita nampak. Bangga juga sebagai orang Perak ni. Baik. Okey. Ada lagi pelajar nak bertanya? Inferen perlu ada pada setiap isi. Tak semestinya bermakna. Bukan semua isi itu kita ada inferen. Inferen hanya satu sahaja. satu markah saja. Bagilah 4 influence pun markahnya 1. Influence ada markah 1. Sebab markah analitik dengan holistik nanti kita akan tengok. Dia caranya lain, dia beza. Okay, good. Cikgu nak tengok sekejap di Telegram kalau ada yang bertanya. Asyik duk bunyi macam ni. Okey, kita tengok. Okey. Okey, tak apa nanti jawab kemudian ya. Good. Okey, kita nampak di sini. Jelas. Okey, pelajar. Kita dah habis 2 tu. Kita dah habis berkaitan dengan kebat. Kita dah habis berkaitan dengan respon terhad dan respon terbuka. Good. Saya buka ruang soalan kalau pelajar nak bertanya sama ada di YouTube ataupun di Zoom. Ya, para ni influence satu saja. Satu saja. Okey, boleh kemukakan soalan, tulis di chat ataupun boleh on mic. Kalau nak on mic, on dan off. Tapi di YouTube tak boleh on mic dah. Okey. Kalau ada yang nak bertanya, kita dah habis separuh dah. Masa sekarang 10:07 minit.
Pelajar-pelajar yang nak menanya soalan, you can buka the microphone dan boleh tanya soalan.
Kita dah habis separuh. Kalau tak faham, tanya. Apa yang saya cerita pada pelajar ni, kebanyakannya saya dah buat dalam bentuk video. Pelajar boleh tengok di link di bawah tu. Di YouTube Santai Sejarah SPM. Saya dah ada letakkan banyak video berkaitan dalam kaedah menjawab ini. Kaedah analitik, kaedah holistik, macam mana kaedah nak jawab respon terbuka. Saya juga buat lebih kurang dalam 45 bimbingan menjawab. Kalau pelajar tengok di channel saya, macam mana kita nak jawab soalan supaya menepati kehendak. Okey, ada soalan ni. Wong dia tanya, cikgu macam mana nak tulis influence? Belum masuk lagi, Wong. Lepas ni. Influence, Jangan risau. Okey. Analitik dan holistik maksudnya apa? Baru nak masuk. At 1 ni, belum masuk lagi ni. Okay. Di YouTube, kita tengok. Apakah contoh influence? Influence tu kesimpulan. Good. Cikgu kalau undang-undang berteraskan syariat Islam, boleh. Okey, cuma jangan kata undang-undang Islam saja. Cikgu kena tulis atau huraian. Cikgu contoh kena tulis atau huraian dah cukup. Dalam 4 markah tu Syawiana, keseluruhan itu kalau boleh ada fakta huraian contoh. Dan kalau ada influence dikira sekali dalam itulah. Kalau tak tulis Fatimah, kalau tak tulis, kalau ada skema berbentuk holistik, maka dia mempengaruhilah markah. Pelajar yang menjawab fakta saja, aras mana? Fakta huraian, aras mana? Fakta huraian contoh, aras mana? Fakta huraian contoh influence, aras mana? Dia ada aras. Dia bukan F1, F2 macam analitik. Ini yang kita nak masuk ni. Pelajar kena tahu juga tentang skema-skema itu. YouTube mana? Dekat bawah ni, Cheng Neng Hao. Dekat bawah tu cikgu dah bagi link YouTube tu kan. youtube.com Santai Sejarah SPM. Okey. Okey. Good. Boleh share slide ini dalam Telegram, senang nak buat. Okey? Ada masalah Ana? Saya akan share dalam grup Telegram. Ada yang saya dah share. Ada yang saya dah share dah pun. Tentang beberapa slide ni saya dah share dah untuk mudahkan pelajar. Okey, good. Terima kasih pelajar. Okey, satu lagi. Nusya Bani Hamzah tanya, kalau soalan 8 markah, fakta 2, huraian 3, contoh 2. Ini soalan kebat kan? Bolehlah tu. Jawab biar lebih, jangan kurang. Jawab biar lebih. Macam kita makan. Makan biar banyak, jangan sikit. Sebab kita makan nak banyak. Jawab nak sikit dia, mana boleh. Kalau kita jawab macam itu lah kita biar over. Biar kita tamak dalam menjawab soalan. Orang kata tamak ni selalu rugi. Tapi dalam menjawab soalan, tamak tak rugi. Tamak baru bagus. Okey. Kita tengok last soalan di Zoom kalau ada. Cikgu, untuk jawab soalan kronologi, kena ada tahun dan tarikh. Itu lebih membantu, Tanusya. Lebih membantu. Tapi kalau tak dapat tahun dan tarikh, kalau kita dapat buat by perenggan pun, pemeriksa tu dia faham. Oh, ini perenggan ni dia cerita tentang tahun yang lain. Nah, ini next tahun yang lain. Itu pun boleh. Sebab bukan semua ada kemahiran mengingati tahun ni. Okay, good. Kita tengok seterusnya, analitik dan holistik. Ini yang ketiga ni. Kita bila sebut analitik, jawapan dia ialah F1, F2, F3, F4. Jadi cikgu pilih soalan yang tingkatan 4 pun tahu, tingkatan 5 pun tahu. Tingkatan 5 ni rukun negara ialah bab 7 dan bab 8. Ada. Bab 7 dan bab 8. Bab 6 pun ada. Rukun negara ni selepas berlakunya 13 Mei. Jadi tak terima. Tingkatan 4 pun dah sedia maklum tentang konsep rukun negara yang telah mereka pelajar. Ada Form 1, Form 2, Form 3 pun belajar. Soalannya simple. Bagaimana amalan rukun negara ini dapat mencapai matlamat 4 markah? Baik. Katakan soalan macam ini, dia keluar dan pelajar menjawab. Kalau pelajar nampak F1, F2, F3 macam ini dalam buku rujukan yang pelajar beli, ataupun dalam mana-mana sumber perkongsian di Telegram, WhatsApp ataupun di internet, ini ialah kaedah yang kita panggil analitik. Ini kaedah analitik. Pelajar kena tahu juga. Ini analitik cikgu. Dia ada F1, F2 dan bila sebut kebat ini jawapannya munasabah. Mana-mana yang munasabah. Okey. Macam mana kita tengok kaedah menjawab? Pelajar kalau boleh di sini jawab fakta, huraian, contoh. Inference tak ada. Dalam skema analitik tak ada inference. Kalau kita tengok di sini, katakan pelajar jawab macam ini. Amalan prinsip rukun negara dapat mencapai matlamat melalui rakyat menghayati rukun negara. Kalau kita tengok situ, rukun negara sampai habis pelajar dah dapat semua munasabah. Jawapan ni semua munasabah. Pelajar dapat 4 markah garis-garis. Maksudnya pelajar ni dapat markah penuh. Kalau skema analitik, pelajar full mark. Bagus pelajar. Tapi katakanlah soalan ini skemanya holistik. Pelajar dapat berapa? Pelajar hanya bagi fakta saja, tak ada huraian, tak ada contoh, tak ada inference. Sudah tentu pelajar dia akan dapat pemberatan aras paling bawah. Itu sebab kalau boleh, kita latihlah diri kita, mungkin tak semua, ada yang tak boleh. Jawab dengan fakta, huraian, contoh, inference. Dan jangan jawab macam ini. Gunakan point form, mungkin pelajar dapat 2 markah. Atau mungkin tak dapat langsung. Sebab menjawab dalam bentuk point form ni, dia risiko. Cikgu boleh start share nota ini dalam grup Telegram. Okey, insyaAllah nanti kalau ada masa, cikgu akan share screen. Kalau tengok dekat Telegram tu ada banyak share screen, share yang cikgu dah cropkan kan, untuk pelajar membaca. Okey, boleh nanti saya ingatkan cikgu. Baik, jangan jawab dalam point form. Masih dapat markah tapi rugilah separuh. Kalau dia jawab dalam bentuk ayat, dia dah dapat jawapan penuh. Okey. Kalau kita tengok sini, betul, semua betul. Cuma markah separuh. Elak terus, kalau boleh haramkan kaedah menjawab ini. Okey. Bila sebut holistik, okey, good. Sekarang kita nak pergi tengok kaedah holistik. Cikgu, macam mana saya nak jawab holistik? Penekanan, fakta, huraian, contoh, inference. Katalah contoh tak ada. Pelajar jawab fakta, huraian lanjutan. Maksudnya huraian itu ada 2. Ataupun mungkin 3. Mungkin 4. Dan inference. Ia juga sudah dikira jawapan yang baik. Berbanding jawapan tadi. Berbanding jawapan tadi, ini pun jawapan lebih baiklah. Daripada tak ada langsung, kita latihlah kaedah menjawab sebegini. Dan cikgu letak jawapan yang baik, fakta, huraian lanjutan, contoh, ada tambah, inference. Tapi ada setengah pelajar, tak boleh tak apa. Yang penting jangan hantar kertas kosong. Jangan hantar kertas kosong. Ya, sebab rugi kita belajar dalam masa 2 tahun, kita kita nak tanya tadi good. Tengok kaedah holistik ni. Cuba pelajar tengok. Dalam kita menjawab holistik ini, katakanlah macam inilah. Prinsip hukum negara dapat mencapai matlamat melalui prinsip kepercayaan kepada Tuhan. Itu fakta. Setiap masyarakat Malaysia mempunyai agama sebagai, nampak? Huraian itu dia menghurai kepada fakta yang dia bagi. Jafarullah tanya, holistik dalam tingkat akan berubah. Yang itu kita tak tahu. Itu rahsia lah. Kita cuma sebagai pelajar, sebagai guru, kita menyebarkan kepada pelajar apa yang ada dalam sebaran berkaitan dengan analitik, dan insya-Allah ini juga akan ditekankan dalam sistem peperiksaan di peringkat sekolah, dan mungkin juga akan ada. Bukan mungkin, sebab dia ada dalam sebaran, kita kena faham lah. Dan kita kena latih lah. Jafarullah berkaitan dengan analitik dan holistik. Kita kena cakna, kena ambil tahu. Baik. Anadin kata, cikgu boleh share tak cikgu slide ni? Boleh. No problem. Ini bukan rahsia, ini kita share. Baik. Ada huraian. Ini dapat membina, nampak? Jawab. Ini dapat membina jiwa yang tenteram atau tenang. Bila kita ada kepercayaan kepada Tuhan, dia bagi huraian lanjutan. Kita tenteram lah. Kesannya, nampak? Kesannya influence lah. Rakyat mudah diurus, bertanggungjawab, dan kehidupan masyarakat penuh dengan keharmonian. Ada fakta, ada huraian lanjutan, ada influence. Jawapan sebegini, nampaknya dia lebih baik lah, berbanding dengan jawapan-jawapan yang lain. Jadi pelajar nampak kaedah kalau kita menjawab soalan ni. Kita nampak di situ. Dan sedikit peringatan, nampak. Ini lama dah SPM 2016. Jawapan calon jika dalam struktur mesti dalam SPM itu. Tak apalah ini pelajar pun dah sedia maklum. Okey? Ada soalan. Kalau tulis mengikut holistik dapat markah penuh ke? Ya, markah penuh lah. Kalau skema tu holistik, markah penuh. Kalau analitik pun markah penuh. Analitik kalau ada fakta huraian contoh lagi baiklah. Cuma inference tu mungkin tak ada markah. Tapi awak bagi lebih bukan? Itu sebab cikgu kata jangan bagi ngam-ngam. Kalau 4, jangan kita bagi 4. Fakta huraian contoh inference. Kita bagi mungkin 2 fakta, 2 huraian, 2 contoh, ataupun 1 contoh. Kita bagi 5, yang ke-6 inference. Tetap 4 markah. Yang jadi masalah bila kita bagi ngam-ngam. Mungkin salah, mungkin betul. Jadi kita tengok. Analitik ni, dia ada skema dia. Senang. Ada F1, F2. Tetapi bila holistik, dia kena tengok secara keseluruhan. Ada tak fakta? Ada tak huraian? Ada tak contoh? Ada tak inference? Jadi kita kena tengok. Supaya kalau kita tengok di sini, cikgu share sikit. Di sini yang tadi dah ada ni. Ini cikgu share kat sini sekejap. Okey. Okey, pelajar ada nak tanya? Cikgu sharekan sekejap berkaitan dengan satu bahan. Macam mana kita nak jawab soalan? Katakan cikgu bagi soalan kepada pelajar macam inilah. Ini bab 7 tak mungkin jauh lagi bab ini kot. Okey. Bab 6. Mungkin pelajar dah belajar bab ini. Kalau kita tengok di sini pelajar, kita ambil soalan yang semua tingkatan 4, tingkatan 5 pun boleh jawab. Okey, kalau kita tengok ini soalan berkaitan dengan fakta. 6.1, 6.2, 6.3. Baik. Kalau kita tengok di sini ialah holistik. Okey. Cuba kita tengok soalan di sini. Kalau pelajar boleh jawab, mengapa perpaduan kaum menjadi agenda utama dalam sesebuah negara? Baik. Bila kita dapat soalan macam ini, bahan-bahan ini cikgu dah masuk dalam grup. Pelajar boleh tengok. Okey. Katakan kita nak jawab soalan macam ini. Sekejap. Okey. Pertama sekali kita tengok. Kita baca ini kita panggil sebagai stimulus. Ini stimulus. Bahan dan sangan kita lah. Okey, yang pertama sekali kita baca. Dia nak berkaitan dengan mengapa perpaduan kaum ini penting. Dia nak tentang perpaduan kaum. Itu key soalan sebenar dia. Menjadi agenda penting. Agenda. Maksudnya perkara yang diberikan penekanan utama. Maksudnya kalau kita tengok di situ, apakah perkara yang diberikan penekanan? Ini agenda, ini penekanan utama. Kerajaan kita bagi penekanan di situ. Baik, kalau kita nak tengok pelajar di sini, kita nak jawab mengapa perpaduan menjadi agenda penting. Cikgu besarkan di sini. Okey. Mungkin pelajar boleh tulis di chat dulu apa jawapan-jawapan yang pelajar rasa betul. Kenapa screen lag? Okey, saya gunakan menulis sekarang. Okey, dah dapat dah? Okey. Okey. Boleh ya? Mengapa perpaduan ini penting? Perpaduan penting kepada ataupun perpaduan menjadi agenda utama. Mana-mana boleh. Penting kepada negara kerana, okey. Kalau kita nampak di sini kan, pelajar dah nampak dah. Kenapa? Kita di sini pun kita nampak dekat stimulus pun kita dah boleh baca dah. Kenapa perpaduan ni penting? Kalau kita tengok sini kita nampak dia mengukuhkan kedaulatan. Merupakan akan menjadi daya tarikan kepada pelabur. Kita akan garis dulu. Jadi kita ada masyarakat bersatu hati sampai di sini. Ada lagi jawapan dia. Jadi pelajar dekat stimulus itu ada banyak jawapan yang pelajar boleh ambil. Itu pentingnya pelajar faham tentang stimulus tu. Bila kita faham tentang stimulus, kita boleh jawab dengan baik. Tadi cikgu terbalikkan laptop tu. Okey. Nampak? Jadi bila kita nak jawab, kita tengok dekat stimulus ada tak jawapan. Kalau tak ada, bermaksud kita kena cari idea sendiri. Mengapa perpaduan menjadi agenda negara? Kita nampak. Dengan adanya perpaduan, kalau kita nampak di situ, dengan adanya perpaduan, apa kita nampak? Negara kita, negara akan kukuh dari segi kedaulatan. Dan sebagainya lah. Di sini dah ada jawapan ni. Itu kalau pelajar nampak. Sebab bila kita kebat, kukuh dari segi kedaulatan kenapa? Mungkin kita boleh katakan kukuh dari segi kedaulatan kerana apa? Rakyat yang terdiri dari pelbagai kaum bersatu padu. Contohnya, bagi contoh. Contohnya rakyat kita. Rakyat apa? Pelbagai kaum. Melayu, Cina, India, masyarakat putra lain, Sabah, Sarawak, Semenanjung. Bila bersatu kedaulatan negara, kita semakin kukuh. Dah dapat situ. Kita bagi contoh. Bila hubungan ini semakin kukuh, secara tak langsung dia akan apa? Sambung lagi. Ini. Ia akan menarik pelabur asing datang ke negara kita. Nampak? Keunikan menarik pelancong luar negara good, kesejahteraan dan keselamatan rakyat terjamin. Ramai pelajar dapat jawab dengan baik sebenarnya. Kalau kita ada macam ni, kita juga kata, kita kena faham tentang stimulus itu. Sebab dekat stimulus itu, dia dah ada jawapan yang akan membantu pelajar. Bila kita dapat kesimpulan, last kali kita letaklah inference. Mungkin saya suka letak last kali lah. Inference ni kalau tak tahu, letakkan kesimpulan. Tak tahu, letak kesannya. Dan sebagainya. Negara jadi aman. Cikgu tak boleh tengok. Apa tak boleh tengok tu? Cikgu tak boleh tengok kamu. Saya nampak. Okey. Nampak Ini cara kita nak jawab lah pelajar. Bila kita nak jawab, kita kena faham stimulus. Di situ dekat stimulus tu dah ada apa yang kita panggil bahan rangsangan untuk kita menjawab. Okey. Sedikit berkaitan dengan kita. Baik. Saya dah sampai kepada bahagian yang ketiga. Sebaran, respon terhad yang terbuka, keban, analitik, holistik. Okey, good. Sekarang saya buka pertanyaan. Kalau ada pertanyaan, sebelum kita nak pergi sedikit bimbingan menjawab ni. Sedikit tips, kita nak buat sedikit bimbingan menjawab supaya pelajar bolehlah menjawab soalan kita. Okey, pelajar bertanya tentang contoh penulisan jawapan yang baik. Boleh tak kita letak inference sebelum contoh? Boleh. Pemeriksa dia akan tengok di mana-mana. Cikgu macam mana tulis kesimpulan? Kesimpulannya, Jason, kesimpulannya, perpaduan ini menjadi agenda penting kerana ia akan membawa kemakmuran dari segi ekonomi, kestabilan dari segi politik, dan secara tidak langsung kedaulatan negara kita akan semakin kukuh. Fakta lebih, Sumaya. Cikgu adakah markah kalau fakta saya bagi lebih? Kalau dah lebih 8 contohnya, kalau lebih tak dapat dah markah. Sampai 8 lah. Dia sampai 8 saja. Okey. Kita tengok beberapa jawapan yang menepati kehendak lah. Kita tengok di sini. Ini contoh jawapan. Soalan nasionalisme. Bila sebut nasionalisme ini, bab 2 tingkatan 5. Bab 2 tingkatan 5. Dan dia juga merangkumi kepada topik bab 4, bab 5, bab 6. Tingkatan 4. Okey. Nasionalisme bukan saja terhad kepada perjuangan politik, tapi juga ke atas ekonomi. Pada pendapat anda, apakah faktor penting faktor penting kejayaan sesuatu perjuangan? Tinggi soalan ni. Pelajar kena faham soalan ni betul-betul. Kalau kita tengok, tak apa, yang ni saya bimbing, tengok pelajar dia jawab. Okey. Faktor penting kejayaan, nampak? Sesuatu ialah semangat cintakan negara. Okey. Semangat cintakan negara itu kita letak satu fakta lah. Ini kerana, okey. Ini kerana, kita nampak, bila sebut ini kerana, perkataan tersebut akan membangkitkan semangat memajukan negara. Itu uraian satu. Dan dia guna kabus. Kabut cikgu tak payah tekan kalau pelajar pun dah tahu dah kabut, semua dah dabus, semua dah tahu dah. Di sini dia ada fakta, dia ada huraian, supaya yang tengah-tengah ni dia nak membezakan antara huraian dengan huraian lanjutan. Huraian dengan huraian lanjutan. Jadi ada fakta, ada huraian, huraian lanjutan, contoh dan inference. Jadi kalau markahnya 4, dia jawab 5. Dia ada fakta, ada 2 huraian, ada 1 contoh, ada 1 inference. Dia dapat 5 4/4. 4 maksimum lah ini antara jawapan yang baik lah. Kalau pelajar jawab macam ini, dia menarik. Itu sebab kita jangan jawab soalan kita ngam-ngam lah. Jawab lebih tak apa. Yang selalunya pelajar buat, dia jawab lebih tapi tak betul. Itu sebab jawab lebih tak apa. Mungkin sesekali, mungkin tak betul, tapi banyak kali mungkin betul. Okey. Okey, soalan yang pertama. Yang kedua, ada isi, ada huraian, ada contoh, ada inferen. Yang kedua, apakah faedah yang diperoleh oleh negara daripada kemajuan pertanian? Ini adalah bab 8 tingkatan 5. Okey. Kita tengok sama juga. Dihuraikan, ada fakta, ada huraian, ada contoh, inferen. Good. Sekarang cikgu minta pelajar cuba jawab pula. Pelajar cuba jawab. Okey, ini dah bos tadi. Ini sepatutnya cikgu tak tekan. Sebab pelajar dah sedia maklum, di sekolah dah buat, cikgu pun dah tekankan banyak kali. Isi dan stimulus boleh diulang untuk menulis jawapan. Dia gini, bila kita ulang pun dia bergantung kepada pemahaman pemeriksa. Kalau boleh kita elakkan lah. Cikgu, kalau tak ingat fakta tapi kita jawab ikut pemahaman sendiri, kalau kebat memang tak payah ikut fakta. Kalau kebat dia memang munasabah. Apa kegunaan kenyataan yang diberikan dalam soalan? Kenyataan stimulus itu sebagai bahan rangsangan. Stimulus tu bahan rangsangan kita. Itu sebab dekat stimulus tu sebenarnya dia dah bagi hint sikit jawapan-jawapan yang akan dibuat. Ini. Jadi, kalau kita tengok jawapan yang cemerlang, jawapan pelajar yang hebat, jawapan pelajar yang mantap, jawapan pelajar yang dah sedia maklum, dia mesti ada fakta, huraian, contoh. Automatik ada macam ini, FHC, pelajar sudah analytical. Bila pelajar ada saja tambah perkataan kesimpulan, ada tambah perkataan rumusan, dan sebagainya, konklusi lah, apa saja, bermaksud pelajar dah jawab menjadi inferen. Itu saja. Itu kalau kita tengok. Bila inferen ni macam mana? Pelajar tanya. Inilah markah dia. Aras 1, aras 2, aras 3. Aras 1 fakta saja. Aras 2 mungkin fakta dengan contoh huraian. Aras 3 mungkin fakta, contoh, huraian, inferen. Kalau ada 4, mungkin aras 4, fakta sangat lengkap, huraian sangat lengkap, contoh sangat lengkap, inferen sangat lengkap. Semua sangat-sangat semua. Jadi contoh, ini contoh. Kalau kita nak tengok, itu sebab kita jangan jawab bagi fakta saja. Kalau fakta saja, kita berada di aras yang paling rendah. Risikonya tinggi lah. Kalau kita nak cuba, boleh lah. Nak cuba dalam soalan periksa sekolah. Tak payahlah. Jawab. Masih cikgu saya bagi fakta dengan huraian. Mungkin baru aras 2. Okey. Okey, setakat ni pelajar. Cikgu dalam kertas 1 ada tak objektif? Dalam kertas 1 ada tak objektif? Macam mana Perani tu? Kertas 1 memang objektif ABCD. Okey. Bila kita dah ada ni, pelajar pun dah faham. Ini antara jawapan yang lengkap lah. Kita nampak satu, ini daripada Cikgu Rosli, saya share kan. Cikgu Rosli Yasin, seorang guru sejarah yang hebat juga. Tengok, dia letakkan dalam jawapan kita yang sangat lengkap. Kalau pelajar ada benda ni, tampil di atas meja. Yang asrama tampil dekat almari. Jadi kita tengok, dalam kita menjawab soalan, pastikan semua ini ada. Saya ada penanda wacana, cikgu. Ada fakta. Saya ada kata hubung yang baik. Ada pula kabus ke dabus ke, tak kisahlah. Huraian saya pun baik. Contoh pun lengkap. Inferen ada. Tak ada sebab awak tak dapat markah baik. Chiu Si Ping. Cikgu, macam mana kita tahu jawapan itu perlu analitik? Macam ni lah. Kalau kebat, kita bersedialah dengan holistik. Itu saja. Kalau fakta, analitik. Okey. Boleh ini antara yang perlu ada lah. Kalau ada pelajar faham, pelajar boleh buat, itu antara yang menarik lah. Barulah kita nampak jawapan-jawapan kita menarik sikit lah ya. Okey, kita cuba jawab sikit pelajar. Kita cuba recall balik. Cikgu yakin pelajar tingkatan 4 dah belajar bab ini. Pelajar tingkatan 5 apatah lagi. Ini bab apa ni? Ini bab apa? Ini bab 2 tingkatan 4. Okey, cikgu ambil tengah-tengah. Bab 2, good. Betul ya? Nyatakan 2 pemodenan pentadbiran yang terlibat dalam gerakan nasionalisme di Thailand. Okey, cuba jawab. Dia ada stimulus itu Dia ada stimulus yang dia bagi. Cuba pelajar tengok. Dia nak 2 markah. Dia ada huruf Roman. 2 tokoh pemodenan. Dia tak bagi pun 2 tokoh pemodenan. Siapa? Siapa tokoh? Ingat, bila sebut tokoh, pastikan ejaan itulah ya. Okey, kita tengok 2 tokoh. Raja Mongkut, Pibul Songkram. Okey, good. Tapi kalau bukan Pibul Songkram, ada satu lagi yang lebih tepat. Yap. Mongkut tu dah okey dah. Satu lagi apa? Agak good. Pibul Songkram, Chulalongkorn. Chulalongkorn dan Mongkut. Sebab 2 tokoh pemodenan pentadbiran dengan gerakan nasionalisme. Lebih tepat Mongkut dan Chulalongkorn. Itu kita nampak di situ Jadi soalannya tak payah panjang. Dia bagi huruf Roman, dia bagi nombor 2 macam itu, kita pun fahamlah. Dia dah bagi, kita faham. Baca stimulus yang dia bagi ni, dia nak key itu tokoh pemodenan. Jadi Mongkut, Chulalongkorn. Kata ejaan awak salah. Awak tu nak tulis Mongkut, awak tulis mangkat, tertulis sikit saja. Salah lah. Ejaan betul ejaan. Chulalongkorn. Jarang salah. So ejaan ini dia lebih sebab nama-nama kita jangan salah lah Candi Borobudur, Bodudubu, Boroh Bodur. Tak boleh Nama tu mesti ejaan itu kalau boleh jangan salah. Okey, Raja Chulalongkorn, okey di YouTube. Ramai betul Dia ejaan kita tengok betul Okey. Key di situ. Jawapan pendek sebab ada huruf Roman, tetapi pastikan ayat kita lengkap lengkaplah. Jangan tulis M, koma kut. Tak boleh. C, awak tulis koma kun. Tak boleh. Nak ringkas buat apa? Cikgu tak ada rehat. 2 jam je kita ni, Balan. Nak rehat macam mana? Ni kan ada rehat. Dah ada air vitamin C untuk mengelak COVID. Okay, good. Maran nak rehat? Boleh rehat, Maran. No problem. Kita nak habis dah, Maran. Kita lama lagi Okay. Soalan 2. Jelaskan pemodenan pentadbiran tokoh A. Katakan awak bagi tokoh tu Mongkut, cerita tentang Mongkut. Soalan 1A. Tapi bukan itu. Dia nak pelajar jawab pemodenan pentadbiran tokoh Mongkut dan Chulalongkorn tadi. Ceritalah. Sebab dia kata tokoh di 1A. Mongkut dan Chulalongkorn ni. Pelajar. Jelaskan pemodenan pentadbiran yang dilakukan oleh tokoh di 1A. Apa contoh dia? Pentadbiran, kita tengok di chat ada jawapan dah. Okey. Di YouTube pun belum ada jawapan. Apa dia contoh pentadbiran? Kita tunggu jawapan sekejap. 2 contoh pentadbiran. Ada tak jawapan di Telegram? Okay, good. Satis kata birokrasi barat. Hubungan baik dengan kuasa barat, contohnya British. Gong. Good, Ong. Syarwin, birokrasi barat. Oh, ramai birokrasi barat. Okey, masuk 80 orang penasihat. Semua betul. Good. Budaya barat. Sistem pendidikan. Okey, good. Bagus. Anak-anak SPM ni. Okey. Tengok jawapan. Dia tak ada huruf Roman. Tak ada huruf Roman. Maka jawapan pelajar lengkaplah ayat. Pemodenan pentadbiran tokoh di A ialah, ataupun terus kita bagi direct. Di antara pemodenannya ialah, mana-mana boleh. Kalau kita tengok situ. Dia nak di A, lihat jawapan di A tadi. Jika terbalik, kosonglah. Jangan awak tulis A mongkut curah longkon, awak cerita tentang wajir rawut. Okey? Lihat. Terangkan di B. Okey, ini semua betul lah. Cikgu yakin. Mongkut ialah langkah pemodenan dan membawa penasihat barat. Kesan. Senanglah. Kita laju sikit. Mengekalkan kemerdekaan, hubungan yang baik dengan barat serta melecinkan urus. Ini contoh kita dalam menjawab soalan. Nanti cikgu akan share skrin jawapan ini untuk pelajar boleh share dengan rakan-rakan yang tak hadir dalam program kita. Okey, ini contoh pelajar dalam kita nak menjawab soalan. Beza antara respon terhad yang ada huruf Roman dan respon terhad yang tak ada huruf Roman. Itu beza. Okey. Okey, boleh? Good, Afiq. 2 jam mana ada rehat. Biasalah, Afiq. Tapi bagus juga Balan disuruh rehat sekejap tadi. Okey. Itu contoh respon terhad. Ini mungkin perkongsian terakhir kot. Masa kita sudah 10.42. Ini respon terbuka. Ini adalah bab 4, tingkatan 4. Dan bab 5. Dia sambung tu. Bab 4 dan bab 5. Kalau kita tengok di sini, cikgu terus bagi jawapan lah. Nampak? Usaha ke arah pembentukan, cikgu menggunakan modul Kejora, Perak. Pelajar Perak boleh dapatkan modul itu daripada cikgu sejarah masing-masing. Ini ada soalan dalam modul Kejora. Ada skema. Okey, faktanya ada di sini. Pelajar boleh tengok. Contoh kita jawab. Cikgu lajukan sikit. Okey, bila kita jawab fakta, dia simple saja. Tapi markah kita panjang kan. Usaha ke arah pembentukan ialah penubuhan sebuah jawatan kuasa eksekutif oleh British. Nampak? Fakta, 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 fakta. Banyak betul fakta. Pelajar hanya jawab macam ini saja. Ini contoh. Cikgu cuma nak bagi contoh. Pelajar jawab macam ini. Jadi pelajar jawab macam ini pun pelajar dah boleh dapat markah yang baik. Yang penting tulis jawapan. Itu sebab kalau kita nak jawab, ini contoh soalan. Ini bila soalan B, dia dah pergi lain sikit. Sebab dia dah ada tinggi sikit soalan dia. Mengapa? Jelaskan, terangkan. Biasanya soalan B ni, dia dah mula pergi kepada fakta dan huraian. Jadi pelajar hati-hati. Di situ kita kena bersedia, kena banyak baca, kena banyak kuasai konten dan maklumat untuk kita menguasai sejarah ini dengan lebih detail. Faham kehendak soalan. Lihat. Ini contoh soalan. Okey? Ini contoh soalan yang kedua. Cuba jawab soalan ni. Sambil-sambil pelajar menjawab, barulah cikgu rehat sekejap. Apakah tugas yang dilakukan oleh British Military Administration? Kalau lupa nak letak huruf besar, tak apa, tak salah. Hari ni ganasan kita tak adalah kata kesalahan sangat besar. Kalau tulisan kita kecil ataupun tulisan tu huruf besar, tak apa. Azrina, soalan A tadi tak ada huraian dia. Dia fakta saja. Okey, ini soalan yang mudah. Jangan salah. Kalau boleh jangan buka buku. Apakah tugas yang dilakukan oleh British Military, BMA? pentadbiran tentera British apabila mereka mula mentadbir tanah Melayu? Okey, kita tengok jawapan. Oh, di Zoom dah banyak dah jawapan. Mengembalikan senjata, meminta. Dia kena betul ke ayat tu Meminta senjata dikembalikan, memulihkan kepercayaan rakyat, good. Mengembalikan amanan dan kestabilan. Oh, bagus. Dahsyat-dahsyat pelajar ni ini kita nampak. Bila dia mula datang selepas kekalahan Jepun, kita nampak tindakan mereka itu ialah untuk mengembalikan keamanan dan kestabilan. Macam mana? Senjata diserahkan. Nanti kita belajar pula. Ada yang tak nak serah senjata dan sebagainya. Mengembalikan kestabilan dan kepenjuan. Dah cukup dah. So, markah 2 je. Kalau nak tambah lagi, tak ada masalah. Pelajar nak tambah lagi senjata dan sebagainya, itu markah jawapan bonus kepada pelajar lah. Apakah masalah yang didapat oleh rakyat tanah Melayu di bawah pemerintahan tentera Jepun? Ini senang. Apa masalah kita? Apa masalah ni boleh berkaitkan dengan dari segi apa? Kesihatan, masalah dari segi kewangan, masalah, banyak masalah. Kesihatan yang paling mudah lah. Bakalan makanan, ubatan, kebuluran, good. Ramai pelajar. Syarwin okey, Syatish okey, Muhammad okey, good. Ruvitra pun okey jawapan. Okey, bagus pelajar. Nampaknya pelajar waktu-waktu PDPR ini juga menguasai konten dengan baik. Kita tengok. Yang garis-garis itu ialah apa yang dia nak. Masalah rakyat tanah Melayu, pemerintahan Jepun. Itu sebab kita garis. Hari passion kita garis, ambil sikit masa, garis, conteng soalan kita supaya bila kita nak jawab, mudah. Ini jawapan aras rendah saja. Sepatutnya soalan B tak ada yang salah lah. Semua pelajar boleh dapat jawapan dengan baik. Okey. Dan last. Inilah soalan kita yang terakhir sebelum saya berhenti. Jelaskan tindakan. Pelajar boleh nampak bezanya antara soalan C dengan soalan D. Jelaskan tindakan BMA untuk memulih. C itu masih fakta. Tetapi D sudah kebat. Maka D itu kalau boleh kita jawablah dengan jawapan berdasarkan pengetahuan pelajar. Okey, pelajar. Nampak gaya hampir 2 jam saya bercerita. Jadi dalam masa 10 minit atau 5-6 minit ini, saya buka jawab sekiranya pelajar nak bertanya, sama ada di Zoom ataupun di ruang chatting, untuk apa saja yang berkaitan dengan sebaran hari ini. Sebab kita hanya sebaran saja hari ini. Kalau teknik menjawab, saya akan bagi bahan kepada pelajar. Pelajar akan jawab soalan-soalan macam ini. Jadi kita ada 2 pihak. Pelajar jawab, pelajar hantar jawapan di Telegram, saya screenshot, saya akan paparkan jawapan pelajar. Itu baru menarik kalau teknik jawab. Kita ada quiz dan sebagainya. Tapi dalam sebaran ini kita tak buatlah word wall ke, quizzes ke, kita tak buatlah. Sebab ini adalah pengukuhan tentang maklumat KSSM sejarah. Saya harap perkongsian saya dalam masa hampir 2 jam ini dapat membantu anak-anak menguasai, memahami tentang bentuk soalan, tentang bentuk jawapan, tentang tajuk mana. Cikgu, saya nak baca tajuk mana, cikgu? Pada pandangan cikgu yang tak pandai ni lah. Bagi calon yang nak lulus, carilah bab yang dekat dengan calon. Bab yang dekat dengan calon, bab yang sikit, bab yang calon boleh faham. Faham dari segi objektif, faham juga dari segi soalan esei dan struktur. Tiada cikgu boleh tak key, cikgu boleh key cikgu, apa macam ni? Cikgu boleh key hantar past year question. Tak ada, kita tak ada past year question. Sebab ini soalan tahun yang pertama. Kita tak ada past year. Sebab past year question tu format KBSM. Kita format KSSM. Jadi dalam kita nak menghafal dari sini, sejarah ini, kalau boleh, kita kena faham tentang tajuk. Dekat tajuk itu apa nak ada soal? Okey, contoh saya macam ini ya. Okey, bab 5, 6. Dia tanya tentang pembentukan Malaysia dan cabaran. Apa yang pelajar faham? Yang kena faham key di situ ialah cabaran. Cabaran pembentukan Malaysia. Pembentukan Malaysia. Bagaimana pembentukan Malaysia itu dibentuk? Itu kita kena tahu. Itu key dulu. Dia bentuk. Ada Suruhanjaya Kobor. Ada jawatan kuasa antara kaum. Bila kita faham key itu, kita faham lah. Kalau pilihan raya, kita kena faham tentang apa? Proses pilihan raya. Bila pilihan raya diadakan? Berapa kali pilihan raya? Kita kena faham. Di mana kita nak faham? Kita kena latih tubi, jawab soalan-soalan yang kita bekalkanlah. Saya suka kalau pelajar, saya bagi tahu tadi, perkasakan buku teks. Gunakanlah buku teks semaksimum yang boleh. Sebab kita waktu PKP, PKPD ni, lockdown ni, gunalah buku teks. Sebab buku teks semua pelajar ada, buku rujukan ada yang tak ada. Okey. Jelas. Cikgu nama tokoh, kalau nama tulis tempat salah. Macam saya tulis tokoh, tapi tak apa. Tak ada masalah. Tak ada Putra Al-Haj pun okey. Tapi kalau ada lebih baik, tak ada masalah. Yang penting pemeriksa tu masih faham lah apa yang pelajar nak tentang soalan tu. Okey? Ni kajian kes tak perlu. Okey. Ada lagi pelajar? Kalau soalan bermula dengan terangkan. Okey, gini Ainul, Auni. Soalan terangkan tu soalan A atau B? Kalau soalan A, fakta. Biasanya kalau soalan C, dia tidak diterangkan, dah jarang kita jumpa. Kalau soalan tu C, kita akan C tu biasanya kebat lah. Telegram, di mana Telegram? Di bawah ni dah ada ni. Dekat bawah ini dah ada Telegram. Santai Sejarah SPM Cik Gani. Kan? Dah ada dah. Ini YouTube. Pelajar boleh tengok di YouTube, perkongsian di YouTube berkaitan dengan apa tajuk-tajuk yang ada ini, yang mungkin boleh bantu pelajar lah. Yang mungkin akan membantu pelajar, boleh membantu pelajar untuk menguasai sejarah. Sebab saya bersama dengan PDPC mengikut subtopik dan juga bimbingan menjawab mengikut itu. Ada bimbingan menjawab je. Jadi kalau pelajar tengok, ini boleh membantu pelajar lah. Okey, Mama Adam, cikgu tugas laksanakan sebagai panglima. Dia macam ni ada. Pemeriksa kita ni skema, dia berkata pada skema. Jawapan tu masih dekat. Pemeriksa masih faham, dia boleh jawab soalan tu. Cikgu rasa betul jawapan tu. Jika ada pertanyaan boleh tanya, boleh tanyalah. Mana yang cikgu mampu jawab, cikgu jawab. Tapi kebanyakan insya-Allah rakan-rakan lain pun boleh bantu. Jadi pelajar boleh tengok, akhir kata boleh tengok YouTube, boleh komen apa tentang YouTube cikgu, boleh subscribe, boleh tengok di Telegram dan sebagainya. Okey. Cikgu rasa itu saja perkongsian pada hari ini kot. Ada lagi tanya? Cikgu, macam mana nak jawab soalan ulasan? Soalan ulasan ni. Ulaskan kenyataan. Kita kena ulas apa yang dia bagi itulah. Kalau ulasan, kita kena bergantung kepada apa dikendak soalan. Kalau dia kata ulaskan berkaitan, apakah yang anda faham tentang pentingnya perpaduan kepada negara Malaysia? Penting tak penting? Pentinglah. Perpaduan penting kerana kita ni negara yang terdiri dari masyarakat majmuk. Kita urai. Terus kita urai satu-satu. Kenapa penting? Pentinglah sebab kalau tak ada perpaduan di antara kaum ini, sudah tentu akan timbul perasaan curiga mencurigai membawa kepada peristiwa yang tak baik. Contohnya 13 Mei. Okey, Adam. Boleh tengok dah. Dekat sana, dekat link-link yang dikongsi berkaitan dengan apa? Grup Telegram dan YouTube tu. Okey. Saya rasa itu saja daripada saya. Ada lagi? Mana link Telegram saja? Saya rasa. Okey,
Saya
saya
sudah sharekan di
dah
YouTube.
share. Dia dah share di YouTube. Di YouTube tanya lagi tu. Tolong share.
Alright, Michelle
Bab,
share sekali lagi
ya.
ya.
Bab apa je yang masuk cikgu? Ini. Oh, macam penyanyi Eli Mazlin ni, Eli Mazlan ni. Bab apa yang masuk itu kita tak tahulah. Kita Eli, kita cuba buat semuanya, mana bab yang boleh kita buat, kita kuasai. InsyaAllah bila kita kuasai bab apa keluar pun kita boleh jawab. Cikgu, buku iPro. Ya. Setiap kotak panduan jawapan tu dalam buku iPro tu Menis, itulah jawapan. Jadi pelajar kalau jawapan tu pelajar gabungkan dengan pandangan wacana, dengan kata hubung, dengan intro, jadikan jawapan lengkap. Itu sebenarnya Menis jawapan lah kepada soalan kita. Okey. Saya rasa anak-anak semua dah tak sabar. Ada yang lapar nak pergi masak, ada yang nak ke pasar. Cikgu doakan semua anak-anak boleh berjaya dalam SPM. Bukan boleh, mesti boleh. Berjaya dalam SPM, buat yang terbaik, buat sehabis baik, kuasai konten, kuasai isi kandungan, kuasai teknik menjawab, dan lihatlah perkongsian dalam grup-grup sekolah, di mana-mana yang boleh membantu anak-anak dapat result yang baik dalam SPM. Jadi cikgu serahkan kepada Michelle untuk seterusnya.
Ya. Harap semua pelajar jangan tinggalkan Zoom bilik dulu dan juga YouTube, sebab kalau pelajar-pelajar atau guru-guru yang belum mengisi maklum balas yang kami sharekan di link tu, harap pelajar-pelajar dan guru-guru isikan forum maklum balas tersebut. Dan selepas bengkel ini kami juga akan bersambung. Harap semua pelajar dan guru-guru boleh terus bersama kami untuk sejam lagi, untuk 1 jam lagi, di mana kami ada jemputan khas, dari Sunway University. So saya berharap pelajar-pelajar di dalam bilik Zoom dan juga YouTube boleh masih bersama kami. Saya ingin mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada Cikgu Abdul Ghani. I think today's session is very fruitful. Semua pelajar-pelajar sudah dapat sedikit maklumat penting. Untuk anda semua membuat ulang kaji, untuk anda semua bersedia, terutamanya pada masa lockdown ini. Jangan, kalau mereka yang tak sempat masuk atau mereka yang tadi menanya, bolehkah dapat tips-tips untuk teknik menjawab? Jangan risau, selepas SPM percubaan kami Sunway College Ipoh akan masih ada lagi bekerjasama dengan Cikgu Abdul Ghani dan juga Cikgu Jalani semalam, akan mengadakan bengkel teknik menjawab. Tapi itu akan ambil masa selepas peperiksaan percubaan SPM. Betul Cikgu Abdul Ghani? Alright.
Okay, kita lepas mungkin dalam bulan 10 lah kot. Mungkin dalam bulan 10.
Baik. So, terima kasih lagi sekali Cikgu Abdul Ghani. If you want, you can stay with us, Cikgu Abdul Ghani. So, izinkan saya berbahas dalam bahasa English. Welcome. I would like to welcome our speaker for today, Professor Hugh Gill. We have a special session with Prof. Hugh Gill. He's a professor of psychology and associate provost student experience of Sunway University. Prof. Hugh is a regular visitor to Sunway College Ipoh, where he helps students improve their learning and study skills. He has shown thousands of young people how to study more effectively, how to pass exams, and how to get their dream job. Prof. Hugh has over 30 years experience and has an entrepreneur, politician, and public servant, banker, business leader, and academic. He studied in St. Anne College, Oxford University, and the Derek Box Center, Howard University. He appears regularly on TV and radio and has written extensively for the press in Malaysia and internationally. Today, we are we are so blessed to have Prof. Hugh to be with us in sharing how to be successful student during this pandemic. I'm sure all of you, my dear students, may be facing many challenges, feeling demotivated, stressed because you have to do a lot of classes online. All right, you have to learn through online, you are losing hope, what will happen next, when is this pandemic going to end? But no worries. Today we have Prof. Hugh here where he will guide us or give us some tips on how we can be successful even during these pandemic times. All right, without further ado, I would like to invite Prof. Hugh.
Okay.
Morning, Prof.
Morning. Selamat pagi, selamat sejahtera. Terima kasih Puan Michelle. Ya, nama saya Prof. Hugh Gill. Saya Associate Provost di Samoa University. Di Samoa University, kami cakap bahasa Inggris. So today I will be speaking to you in English. Maybe we'll do a Malay session sometime in the future. But it's a pleasure to be with you again in EPO. And I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about how you can be a really good student during the forward-coming lockdowns. In fact, I understand we have a new word for that now, kuncitara. And of course, through the pandemic going forward, your SPM exam. So let me share my screen and I'll start and explain to you how you can be a successful student during the pandemic. So firstly, let me thank again Sunway College EPO for giving me the opportunity to speak to you this morning. As Puan Michelle said, I'm a regular visitor to EPO, online, but also physically, and I hope to be up in EPO again with you face to face as soon as possible when this terrible pandemic finally begins to come to an end. Now, I like to start my sessions with questions to get you thinking. And remember, if you have any questions, or type into the chat, because questions are the most powerful way to learn. Good questions lead to good answers. It's good answers that take us forward. So, can we always see the bigger picture? Can we always see what's right in front of us? What's the bigger picture of the pandemic? What do you need during the pandemic? So what are the important things you need to think about in your life during the pandemic? What can you do to help yourself? And how can the pandemic actually be an opportunity for you? I know we all think about the pandemic as being a very negative, a bad thing, but are there ways in which we can actually make the pandemic work for us, make it a positive experience? So, firstly, what is the bigger picture? What can you see? What's there? What's in that bigger picture? So, what did you see? Type your description into the chat. Tell me what you could see. And remember, there is no such thing as a bad answer. So what could you see? Let me scroll down. Okay, thank you. Yes, you can message me privately. So yeah, some of you saw, okay, yeah, a young woman and an old man. So let's look at the picture again. So you can see the old man standing on the right. You can see the young woman sitting down reading a book. And behind them, you can see some trees and a small house. But actually, look at the bigger picture. Can you see what's represented there? Actually, it's Charles Darwin, the father of evolution. So actually, the bigger picture is something that's not obvious when you first look at it, but there is more to the picture than you perhaps realize. And a bit like this picture, during the pandemic, we're going to need to learn to evolve, to change, to adapt. So what's the bigger picture for the pandemic? Well, obviously, our focus has been on lockdown, all the challenges and difficulties we've had with lockdown. Also, quite naturally, our priority has been about coping with moving online. And most of what we've had to do over the past year has been about moving online. about how we can continue to teach and learn and work with other people online. What about you? How's the pandemic been affecting you? I understand life at home can be tough. You're at home with mum and dad and probably your sisters, brothers. It's noisy, it's difficult, it's stressful. Your social life has stopped. You don't see your friends. You don't get out anymore. You're not able to go round and just pop in and see friends and family. And that may mean that learning seems more difficult, that somehow in the pandemic, it's harder. But I have to warn you that MCO, we may have more of them. Around the world, most countries have been through 3, 4, sometimes 5 lockdowns. We're now going into our second major lockdown, and there may be more to come. So, how has the pandemic affected you directly? How are you feeling now? Raise your hand and you can speak to me, or if you prefer, you can type into the chat. So how are you feeling at the moment? How's the pandemic affecting you? Yeah, stressful, unproductive, affected us emotionally, mentally. Yeah, it's depressing. You feel unmotivated. Yeah, lazy, stressed out. Yeah, what's that? Cannot meet. Yeah, exactly. Cannot meet my friends. Yeah, it's really hard, isn't it? Yeah, we feel tired. We feel weak. We feel unmotivated. We feel stressed. Find it hard to study. Don't have any interest in anything. Now, I think that there are some ways that we can actually address some of these problems. So I'm now going to talk to you about some of the things that you need and some of the things that you can do and how you can help yourself succeed during the pandemic and get the SPM results that you want. So what do you need in the pandemic? Well, the first thing you need is stability and predictability. As some of you said in the chat, you're struggling, for example, with your sleep patterns. You're struggling, for example, to think about how you can be motivated and how you can get on with your studying. So what you need to do is try and start establishing a routine. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. You need to find time for yourself. Now, I know that may seem a little bit strange, but when you're in a place with lots and lots and lots of other people, it's actually very difficult to be alone, to find that time to be quiet. One of the most important things you can do is find time to be on your own and to think on your own. Now, that might be just asking to go into your own room. That might be going and sitting outside. It might be just even sitting some time in the tandas on your own. You need to find some time for yourself to be quiet, to think, to reflect, to think about what's important to you. You also need reassurance and confidence from those around you. So you need to be clear that it's all going to be all right. And believe me, it will be okay. It will be better. The pandemic will not last forever. The world has been through many of these before. This is the second pandemic of my lifetime that's affected me in this way, right? You will probably go through another 2 or 3 pandemics in your lifetime. You'll be fine. Also, you need to find engagement. You need to deal with that lack of motivation. You need to find a way of getting interest back in your school activities. And you need to find time to do things that you find enjoyable, things that you find are fun, activities and pastimes that make you take yourself out of yourself, that give you the opportunity to focus on something that you enjoy, something that's just about what you like to do. And you've got to find some motivation and some purpose. If you want to succeed, particularly with SPMs, you need to maintain your motivation. You need to maintain your energy. And lastly, you need to find more opportunity for social and friendship opportunities. So you need to think about how you're going to maintain your friendships, how you're going to keep talking to and interacting with your friends. Now, I'm sure some of you will have noticed that actually all of those things add up to the word streams. This is a really great way to remember things. If you can use what's here called a mnemonic technique, so by creating a word streams, you can remember now each of the things that I've said. And don't worry, at the end of this session, Juan Michel will be sharing these slides if you want them, so you can go back and read through the slides and think about some of the things that I've said to you. So, what do you think about streams? Raise your hand or type into the chat. Does streams make sense to you? Does it sound like a sensible way forward? Do you understand what I'm saying? Oh, I see some having difficulty studying online. Difficult with internet. Okay, but do you understand the points I've made? Yeah? It makes sense to you? Yeah? Good. Now, I do another session. I will be speaking to some students fairly soon. Juan Michel can give you details about some top tips for helping you to study online. Right? But today I'm talking about you, the most important person, because if you don't feel happy and you don't feel motivated, you won't be able to study well and you will not be able to succeed in your SPM. So what can you do now? What things can you do to help yourself? Well, the first thing is to plan. Plan, plan, plan. Now, that means actually sitting down and thinking about how you are going to use your time. Now, you're all very young people, so you believe that you have all the time in the world, but actually, time is the most valuable thing you will ever possess. It is the one thing you can never buy again. You can never get it back. If you smash a car or you burn a house or anything else you damage, you can always buy a new one. You can never buy another minute. When it's gone, it's gone. So plan. Make sure that you use your time wisely. I'm sure most of you have a mobile phone, a smartphone. And on that smartphone, you have a diary function. So use that diary. Plan how you're going to use your time every day. Put in your timetable, put in your school lessons, but also put in time for when you're going to study. Put in time for when you're going to have fun. And then make sure that you use your time wisely. And that means planning for downtime. Now, some of you said you've got difficulty sleeping. Well, one of the reasons is because you're not planning for enough time for yourself to relax before it's time to go to sleep. And a key part of downtime and self-time, me time, is about putting away your phone, being on your own, relaxing, being comfortable with yourself. And if you allow for downtime and rest periods, then you're much more likely to sleep, but more importantly, you'll be able to work better in those times when you have to be studying. Stay calm, stay positive. Don't worry. Don't worry, it's going to be okay. You will do okay in your SPM. I know it seems really difficult at the moment, but as time goes on, you'll begin to adapt and you'll find it much easier to cope. If you stay positive, you will succeed. Now, you need to change your mental attitude. You need to set yourself up correctly. And that means in your head, you need to go to school. So let me give you an example. Sometimes I work from home during the lockdown. At the moment, I'm in my office because I need to be on the university campus, because I need access to systems and I need to deal with various problems in real time. But even when I'm at home, if I have a meeting online, I wear a shirt, a tie, and a suit. And that means in my head, I'm at work. So when you're at home, get up every morning, get ready as though you are going to school. Prepare as you were going to school. Put on your school clothes, put on your school uniform. Then in your head, you will feel that you're at school. And that will actually make it much easier to study, right? If you just fall out of bed and go straight to classes online, your head will not be in the right place. You will not be thinking that you're at school. So it's important to go through exactly the same process every morning as though you were going to school. And then in your head, you'll feel like you're going to school, and you'll find it easier to focus and easier to study. Don't be afraid to ask questions, to investigate, to find unexpected answers. One of the great benefits of being online is that while you're listening to a lesson, you can also have access to the internet. So if you have a question, you can type your question into Google in real time. And of course, you can ask a further question of your teacher. So if you're not sure about something, please ask. And let me emphasize, there is never, ever, ever anything like a bad question. Normally, the students who ask the most questions are the cleverest students. And indeed, you can ask Chiku Gani, I'm sure he will agree with me, that the best students are the ones who ask us questions, because it shows us as teachers that the student is interested, the student wants to learn more, and the student already understands enough to ask a good question. Now, I have never, ever in my whole time as a university lecturer, ever been asked a bad question. And instead, sometimes students have asked me questions that have made me think, because I've suddenly realized they've asked me something I don't know. And that means I have to go and find out for them. So ask questions, try and find unexpected answers is something you can really do while you're online. And also focus on outcomes that are relevant to you. Focus on what matters to you today, tomorrow, next week. Now, I know SPM matters to you, but that's some months in the future. Focus now and in your planning on achieving your milestones in terms of homework, in terms of topics that you understand and can master. So focus, you can actually put in your diary, I want to have done my homework by this time tomorrow, and make sure that you have done it. Make sure that you have learned about this topic by next Tuesday or next Wednesday. And nurture your friends, nurture your social groups. If you've got your smartphones, as I'll be talking about in a moment, use them wisely to make sure that you're keeping in touch with your friends. Just because you're online doesn't mean that you can't speak to your friends. Indeed, because you're online, you can probably speak to your friends when you choose them more regularly. And if you agree to program that time into your diary together, you can make a period, maybe every other day, where you speak to a particular friend. So you can make sure through planning, you stay in touch with everybody in your social network. So you'll see that all of those things add up to passion. So using streams and passion, we can now get to a position where we understand some of the things that we need to do. So let me ask you again, does that make sense to you? How does passion sound to you? Yeah, do you have passion? Raise your hand and type into the chat.
Professor Hugh, just would like to share with you, we also have students from the YouTube Live. So if they have questions, yes, I will also inform you.
Yeah, if you're watching us on YouTube, please ask Pram Michelle and she can type the questions through to me. Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, this makes sense to you, right? And now you understand it. Actually, you probably realize you're already doing some of these things. So it's the bigger picture. It's about putting these things together into the bigger picture. So if you're not doing some of these things, start doing them now. If you're already doing them, start doing them better. Start trying to improve them. So what does this mean for you? Let's put these ideas together now and pull them together. So the first thing is manage your time. This is really important. Now, I say this to everybody, manage your time. And if I showed you my mobile phone, you will see that I program in everything that I do. right from when I get up in the morning, right the way through to when I go to sleep at night. And that way I make sure that I'm making the best use of my time. I even program what I'm doing over the weekends. So this weekend we've got 3 days. It's the Argon's official birthday on Monday. So I'm planning already what I want to do on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I'm managing my time. Insist on your own time. Sometimes tell people in your household you need to be alone. Tell mum and dad, your brothers and sisters, you want some you time. And go off somewhere and be on your own. Relax. Do something that you like to do. Now, when you're studying, stop distractions. Now, this means learning particularly how to manage your mobile phone and social media. Now, social media are wonderful for staying in touch with people, but they can also be a huge distraction from what you're focusing on. Now, we've done some research here at Somewhere University that shows if you have your phone on the table next to you, your anxiety level goes up by about 15%. Why? Because you're worried about social media messages. Have you missed something? So what happens is you keep looking at your phone. You keep waiting for your phone to buzz or make a noise. Now, the problem is every time you look at your phone, you lose concentration. You forget what you were focused on before. And it takes you some time to come back onto focus. So, for example, if you're trying to listen to me now and you're looking at your mobile phone, you cannot do both at the same time, which means you either listen to me or you look at your phone. If you look at your phone, you may miss what I'm saying. And by the time you focus back on what I'm saying to you now, you've already missed what I was saying while you were looking at your mobile phone. So stop distractions. So that's the first thing. But the second thing is do not be somebody else's distraction. Use social media carefully. So don't be messaging people at 1 o'clock in the morning. If other people need to sleep, you also need to sleep. Don't be sending people messages at strange times. And don't be sending people messages in the middle of lessons, because then you're going to be distracting them. They will send you a message back. They're now distracting you, which means both of you are not watching the lesson or both of you are not sleeping. This is really bad. Set yourself some clear targets. Now, I spoke just a moment ago about planning to use your time and thinking about what you want to achieve. So by planning and managing your time, you can be sure about what you need to do and when you need to do it. So if you have an assignment to complete, don't wait until the day before. Plan your time. Plan how you will write it, research it, and when you plan to have the first version ready, and when you plan to have the final version ready to be handed in or submitted. If you set targets, you will find it much easier. You will also be able to break down your days. And by reducing your days to a series of individual slots, you'll find it easier to keep your motivation. Take the time to improve yourself and improve your skills. Now, people sometimes look at me and say, "What, really? Surely it's really difficult during lockdown." Well, actually, no, it isn't. Think about your time again. So currently in lockdown, you're at home. How much time do you normally use walking or traveling to school? That's probably quite a lot of time in a day. Even if it's only 10 minutes to school and 10 minutes back, that's 20 minutes every day. How much time at school do you spend standing around waiting for lessons to begin? Or maybe standing around in your lunch break? Probably another 20 minutes. So put that together, you've already got nearly an hour. So every single day now, you've got extra time. So why don't you use that time to do something else? Why not use that time to improve yourself? So For example, you may have heard of the Harvard Collection. It's considered to be a series of books you should read if you want to be familiar with all the cultures in the world. Well, I've started reading those books. I found them for free online, and I'm using the extra time that I have during the lockdown to read those books, to go back and read the books I perhaps wish I'd read when I was your age. But you might take the opportunity to learn a new skill. You might take the opportunity to focus on some aspect of your schoolwork you find particularly difficult. So use that extra time, don't waste it. Remember that other people matter to you. So set aside some time to socialize. As I said, don't do it early in the morning. Don't do it very late at night. Do it at a sensible time in the evening when you're trying to wind down. So when you've finished all the other things you need to do for the day, arrange to meet up with your friends online. And of course, you can get a free subscription to Zoom, which means that several of you can meet together at the same time online. So use the opportunity of planning your time to plan together when to be with your friends. And lastly, never give up. Don't worry, the pandemic will end, right? This is not going to be your life forever. There will come a time towards the end of this year, as the vaccination program rolls out, when this will come to an end and you'll be able to go back to normal life. But also remember to take the lessons of the pandemic with you. So, for example, I'm talking to you online. 2 years ago, this would just not have happened. We would never have been able to have this meeting from me sitting here in Kuala Lumpur and you sitting in Ipoh. But now it's become the new normal, and it's going to change the whole way in which we do business in future, because international companies have realized this is an amazing way to save time and money. That you can have an international meeting online without having to put people on a plane and make them stay in hotels and travel for hours or even days. So you are going to be the first generation that gets to understand and use this technology from the first time it became a truly global technology. That makes you really lucky. It means you're right on the front edge. You're going to be the first people who understand the skills and technology of the future of business. So look at that as a positive and think about how the pandemic will have helped you learn new skills that will be really valuable when it comes time for you to get a job. So you'll see now that that adds up to the word mission. So streams, passion helps us achieve our mission. So do you have mission? Does that make sense to you? Raise your hand and type into the chat. Tell me what you think. Yeah? Does it make sense? Good. Yes. Oh, yes. I like yes. Lots of S's. Yeah? So if you've got streams, you've got passion, you've got mission, then inevitably you put those things together and those will add up to success, right? Because you need to flow with the stream, demonstrate your passion, and make sure that you achieve your mission. Put those things together and you will achieve SPM success when the exams come. Now, as I said, I will be doing another talk or maybe a couple of talks on how to help you achieve even better at SPM. I'm sure Point Michelle will be in touch with you. But I'm going to pause at that point and say, do any of you have any questions or comments? You can either raise your hand and speak, or you can type into the chat. So if you've got any questions about anything I've said this morning.
Prof. Hugh, there's a question here from the student Muhammad Akmal from YouTube.
Yeah.
He's asking, if I make a diary, how can I maintain the discipline to follow the tasks that I've set for the day?
Okay, that's a really good question. Thank you. So let me tell you what the secret to success is. The secret is process. Now, what does that mean? What it means is Don't focus on a big goal. Focus on little things you can achieve. So if you put in your diary that you intend to study, right, for the next hour, discipline yourself. Make yourself study for at least 20 minutes. And then, all right, give yourself a small break. The next time, focus for 25 minutes before you give yourself a small break. Then next time, 30 minutes, and gradually build yourself up. Get yourself used to the idea that what you're focused on doing now is what you're going to do now. And over time, you'll begin to realize that this way of structuring your life into a routine is actually very effective. And what you'll then realize is how much extra time you have to do other things, right? So by focusing on the process of planning and focusing on doing what you've promised yourself you will do, gradually you get better and better. It becomes easier and easier. And it's the secret of success. So I say to my own kids, who, by the way, are much older than you, I've been very lucky in life, and I have been very lucky in life. But here's the funny thing, the harder I work, the luckier I get. And what I learned early on was to focus on the process. By focusing on using my time and promising myself that I will do what I've promised myself, I do it and I achieve it. And that's why I make such a big use of my diary, because it means every day I know what I need to do. And what I do is I have a part in my diary every day where I sit down at the end of the day and I think about, what do I need to do tomorrow? What do I need to do next week? And I manage my time across months by thinking about what I need to achieve by when. Now, as I've said, if you've got a smartphone, at the very least, you will have a basic diary. Use that diary to plan how to use your time. And if you promise yourself, then make sure you try. And gradually, through practice, you will get better and better. Trust me, it feels difficult at first. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And the easier it becomes, the more you'll realize you have a lot more time and the more you can achieve. Now, I have another question here in the chat. How do I find true passion towards my career? Now, that's a really difficult one. So probably there are some subjects at school you're already very good at. And the funny thing is, if you're good at them, you probably enjoy them. So think about what you enjoy doing, because that's what you're good at, that's what you like to do. Think about how those subjects may swap over into the world of work. Now, I don't know what they are, but if, for example, you're interested in history, then you're probably interested in finding out facts. You're probably interested in finding out what happened. And you're also interested in putting that information together. Now, think about those skills for a moment. Those skills might actually be quite useful, for example, for somebody being a lawyer. They might be quite useful for somebody being an administrator. They might be quite useful for somebody being a manager. So I do a whole talk, and in fact, I will be talking very soon about transferable skills. So skills that you can use in different situations. And if you can identify what your best skills are, then you'll have some idea about the career path you're more suited to follow. Okay, so think about what you like to do now and think about the kinds of jobs where those might be useful. So how to keep motivated and how not to think about negative thoughts. Well, again, by planning your time and by thinking about what you need to do now, you keep focused on what you need to achieve. Now, in the short term, just working for 20 minutes is enough to maintain your motivation. And at the end of the day, if you look back and say to yourself, I wish to achieve these 3 things, and I have done these 3 things, you will now feel motivated for tomorrow. Because if I could achieve only 1 thing today, that means tomorrow I can achieve at least 1 more thing. And the better I get and the more I focus, then one thing today becomes maybe two things tomorrow. Okay, so you keep motivated by achieving little things. That's why I said, don't focus on the big long-term goal. Don't focus on your SPM grades now. Focus on doing what you need to do now. So focus on completing your homework. Focus on reading the part of the textbook that you need to read. Focus on solving that practical problem. And if you've done that, tick it off. Put a big tick. I've achieved that today. And that will make you feel motivated to do the next thing, and it will make you feel motivated for tomorrow. And if you break things down into smaller pieces, it doesn't seem so overwhelming. It doesn't seem so difficult. So rather than taking the whole target of SPM getting an A grade, think about, well, what are the little things I need to do to learn this topic? And if you break the topic down into little steps, each step you achieve, you feel you've achieved something, you feel really good, you feel motivated to go on and to achieve the next step. So break things down and use your diary to make little baby steps. Now, I've got a couple of questions coming up here. Let me just scroll up. If I want to become a teacher, how can I become brave to talk with students like a professor? Again, through practice. So I've told you, use Zoom to talk to your friends, right? And one of the best ways to learn something is to try and teach it to somebody else. So I'll be talking about this in another talk I'll be giving soon. But if you want to learn something, try and explain it to a friend. That's a really good way to practice being a teacher. Go on Zoom and try and explain a topic to your friend. You'll learn it, you'll realize what you don't understand, and you'll practice speaking to somebody online, which are the skills of a good teacher. So that's the place to start. A question coming from YouTube, right? If we can't keep calm, what else can we do? Okay, so if you're struggling to keep calm and you're feeling really stressed, you can adopt the power pose. So the power pose is standing like a superhero. You can see me with your hands on your hips and taking a deep breath 3 times. Now, try that now. All of you, stand up, put your hands on your hips. Okay, hands on your hips. And let's take a deep breath together. Hold it. Let it go. And a deep breath again. Hold it. Let it go. And another deep breath. Hold it. Let it go. And now say with me, every day, in every way, I get better and better. Again, every day, in every way, I get better and better. Now, go back to breathing normally. How do you feel? Do you feel better? Type into the chat, who feels better? If you did the 3 deep breaths and repeated with me, do you now feel better? Yeah, I can see quite a few of you do. So that's a really quick way to feel better and to feel de-stressed. Now, once you've done that, it's easier to go back and focus on what you need to do. And remember, if you plan to use your time, then you know what you need to do. So you can focus straight back on what you need to do. Okay, there's a lot of questions coming in. Let me try and keep up with them. So, I love many things, but I can't decide what I want to do in the future as a career. I've already talked about that. Think about what you like to do and think about how those skills may translate or shift into a career. But I do some talks on choosing the right career, so maybe you need to tune in for one of those. But thanks for your question. I'm slowly losing my passion in helping others. Yeah, I like helping people in need, but because of the pandemic, we can't really go out or have physical activities. So what can I do not to entirely lose my passion? People have tried bringing me down and not being supportive in what I like to do. So that's wonderful, Nadia. If you're helping people in your community, there are many, many ways and things that you can do to help people. So for example, if there are older people, elderly people in your community, they may need help with shopping. That doesn't mean that you need to go into their house, but you can contact them. They can tell you what they need to buy online. You can go and pick up the money from outside their door. You can go to the shops. You can do the buying for them. You can come back and leave the things outside their door with change. So there are lots of different ways that you can help people. So what you need to do is find what you can do without having face-to-face contact. Again, older people often like to talk to somebody. You can have a conversation online. So find out about local neighbors, older people who may need your help, and think about ways that you can help them. Of course, ask your mum and dad before you do that and make sure that they know what you're doing. They may also be able to tell you about people you can help, not just in your local neighborhood, but also in your family. And don't be demotivated. Sometimes just talking to somebody is all it takes. A smile changes somebody's day and makes it better. You can be that smile in that person's day. So remember, connect with people and smile. Wave to people. You can do it online. You can do it to people outside. Keep in social contact. Is self-reward necessary? How should I reward myself? Yes, self-reward is necessary, but only when you do the right thing. So I talked about actually programming in downtime. You can also program in rewards. So if you achieve what you've promised yourself you should do, then you can reward. Then it's time to have the thing that you like to eat, the thing you like to drink, to play your computer games or do whatever it is that you want to do. But only reward yourself when you've achieved what you promised yourself you should do. I want to become a gamer, but my parents tell me that gamers is not a dream. Now, your parents are probably right. Being a professional gamer or a professional sports person is really difficult. Now, if you have a natural aptitude for it, that's great. And if you practice, who knows, you might be really good. But don't ever think that you don't need to do your schoolwork, because you might be a good gamer in Ipoh, you might be a good gamer in Perak, but are you a good gamer in Malaysia? Are you a good gamer in the whole of Asia? I don't know. There are obviously an awful lot of really good people out there. So keep up with your schoolwork. Don't let gaming take over your time. And as I just said earlier, make gaming your reward. So if you focus on doing your schoolwork and studying, as you should, then it's time to play your game. Now, we've got a long weekend coming up. Make sure you make enough time to do all the things you need to do, but now is a good time to practice your gaming. And if you want to show your parents that you have what it takes to be a professional gamer, then you need to win some competitions. That's going to take an awful lot of effort. So that means, again, practice and planning your time. So treat gaming just like you would your schoolwork, and maybe it will grow into your career. But remember, it's always important to keep up with your schoolwork and to move on through education. Because let me tell you this, it's a simple fact. The people with the most education not only earn the most money, they have the most job security. So people who are highly qualified, who are well educated, go on to greater life success. So make sure that you get the best possible qualifications you can to the highest level you can. So I'm scrolling down. Whenever I'm taking efforts to achieve my goals, I have all kinds of doubts whether I'm doing it right or not. My thoughts are my distractions. How do I avoid this? Now, that's a really good question. Now, here's some good news. If you doubt yourself, then you're almost certainly doing the right thing. Think it through for a moment, okay? Who are the most dangerous people you know? They're the people who never think they're wrong. They're the people who never have any self-doubt, right? So having self-doubt is a good thing because it makes us question whether or not we are doing the right thing. But again, think here about how you plan your time. So if you're achieving what you plan to achieve in the time that you've set for yourself, well, firstly, number one, you're doing the right thing. But then think about the feedback you get, for example, on your homework or any other schoolwork that you do. So if you're getting good feedback from your teacher, then you're doing the right thing. But if you're not getting good feedback, what you're then identifying is the areas where you need to improve. right? Now, of course, we always tend to focus on the things we cannot do well, right? So I'm sure, you know, when you tell your mum that you did really well in a test at school, she says, well, okay, what did you get wrong? That's just the way mums are, I'm afraid. But what you can now do is use that information to focus on the things you need to improve. So you know what you're already good at. The way to deal with your doubts is to focus on the things you need to improve. And remember, break it down into small pieces, right? So if you want to learn to play the piano, you are not going to be a concert pianist in 5 minutes. But what you can do is improve your piano playing in the next 20 minutes. And if you do 20 minutes a day, by the end of the week, you'll be a lot better than you were when you started. So the way to deal with your doubts is to break it down into small pieces, and look at what you've achieved. Each little step takes you a little bit further forward. And you'll be able to look back on those steps and realize, yeah, I've achieved something. I was better today than I was last week. And that's how you'll feel more confident, more motivated, and you'll begin to realize that your doubts are actually the opportunity to motivate yourself, not to be scared. Okay? And remember, if you feel too much doubt, 3 deep breaths, and every day, in every way, I get better and better. And the amazing thing is, if you say that to yourself every day, then you will get better and better, and you will feel happier. Now, there's a question there about how to learn efficiently without stress. Well, I do a whole other talk on how to learn efficiently without stress, and you're welcome to come to that. But very quickly, it's about planning, it's about organizing your time, it's about knowing how much you need to achieve, and it's about making that achievable in the time that you have. Now, you know yourself better than I do, so you know realistically what you can do. Be honest with yourself. If you know what you can do, make sure that you do it. And if you know how much time it will take, make sure you make that time. Right now, it's very easy to procrastinate. That's a big word for waste time. So how often do we sit down at our desk? We sit down to do some work and we start tidying up the pencils. We start reorganizing the pens. We start shuffling the paper. That's procrastination. That's finding a way not to do what we need to do. Now, there's a really good biological reason for this, and I will explain very quickly what that is because it's related to my research. So in your head, imagine there are 2 little people. There's one that wants to run towards and there's one that wants to run away. So when we like something, we run towards it. We see some gula gula, we run towards it. We want those sweeties. When we don't like something, we run away. We're scared. We don't want to do it. And that's what often happens with tasks we don't like. We try and run away. So what we do is something that's not important. And that means we're not doing the task we don't like. The trouble is we're wasting time. And that means we have less and less time to do what we need to do. So when I was at Oxford, there was a wonderful exercise called Shut Up and Write. And I do this myself. So when I've got some work to do and I don't want to do it, I make a start. And as soon as I've made a start, as soon as I shut up and I write, I now have something I can criticize, something I can change. Right? So if you've got to do an assignment, shut up and write. Don't reorganize the pens, don't shuffle the paper. Start on the assignment. And it may not be very good. You may not be doing good work. But the fact is, it's a lot easier to change what you have written than to start from nothing. So there is nothing more scary than a blank piece of paper or a blank computer screen. But once you have written something, once you have tried, you now have something you can begin to improve. It suddenly becomes a lot easier, becomes a lot less stressful. So the best way to deal with stress is to start, is to try. Right? How to ignore negative words from toxic parents. Well, I'm afraid all parents are toxic. I speak as a parent. Right? And there will be one day when you find yourself saying to your children the very same things your mum said to you. That's just the way it is. But here's the funny thing, right? Who is it gives you the hardest time? It's your mum and dad. Who is it loves you most? It's your mum and dad. The reason they give you a hard time is because they care. They worry about you. And they can probably see you making the same mistakes that they made. And they want to try and help you avoid those mistakes. They want to save you from making those mistakes. So what they think they're doing is helping you by pointing out what's wrong. What you see, of course, is all they can ever tell you is what's wrong. Now, what they're trying to do in their own way is say, look, this is something you're not very good at. Focus your time on this. Spend more time on this. They're trying to motivate you. Unfortunately, they're doing it in just the way that your grandparents, their mum and dad did for them, which is not necessarily a positive, constructive way. So you need to turn it around in your head and say to them, look, mum, dad, please don't tell me what I'm bad at. Help me to get better at what I need to be good at. Help me. And ask them for their help. Now, as soon as that happens, you change the conversation, because it's no longer about what you're doing wrong. It's about how they can help you. So turn it round. But remember, behind all of this, they care. If they didn't care, they wouldn't say anything. The reason they say these things is because they love you and they really want the best for you. I know it may seem hard to believe that at times, but they really do. So look at it in those terms, and you might realize just how lucky you are to have a mum and dad who really care and love you. Right. I'm just looking through. Somebody's got a hand up. Yeah, would you like to ask your question, please? No, if you're not unmuting. How do I stop doubting my own ability? I've talked about that a little bit. It's about understanding what you can already achieve. Right now, I'm betting that most of you know how to tie your shoelaces or ride a bike. It may seem hard to believe, but there was a time when you couldn't ride a bike. Right? Think back, you were probably about 7 or 8 years old. How difficult was it to ride a bike? Yeah, really difficult. Yet now you do it without thinking. Right? And believe me, one day in the future, you'll look back on SPM and think, wow, how easy was that? Right? So the reason you feel it difficult and the reason you doubt your ability now is because it's new, it's challenging. But if you make time to try and to learn, you'll gradually get better. And just like riding a bike, you'll become more comfortable and you'll wobble a lot less. And then you'll be able to go direct to your target. So don't doubt your ability, right? You can do it. All you need to do is take 3 deep breaths. And remember, every day in every way, I get better and better. And if you look back, right, what you were doing 1 year ago now seems easy. So think about that. You had the ability to cope with all the things you've already done. You had the ability to learn to ride a bike or to tie your shoes. So you have the ability to succeed at SPM. You can do it. It's in there, and you know you can do it. Right? If your parents want you to work in a particular career, again, that's because they love and care for you. But as you get older, you'll discover what you're good at. And you may find that you're very suited for a particular career, or you're not. But when the time comes, you then need to have a conversation with your parents about what you want to do and explain to them why you want to do it. But that's a much bigger conversation. And again, it's something I talk to students about normally when they're thinking about coming into college. So that's probably a conversation to be had in about a year's time. I'm more than happy to come back and talk to you about choosing the next stage in your educational path and your future career. I study for more than 6 hours a day, but I just feel unproductive. and there are diminishing returns. Okay, if you're studying 6 hours a day and you feel you're not achieving anything, think first about what are you actually doing in those 6 hours. Now, I will be doing a talk very soon about how to study effectively during the pandemic, right? And these are general study skills. So think about how you're using those 6 hours. If you're just reading a textbook, that isn't good studying, right? I started this session with questions. So before you sit down to study anything, you should generate a series of questions. Why am I doing this? What do I want to learn at the end of it? And if you write those questions down, at the end of your study time, you can go back to those questions and write out a short answer to each question. If you can answer each of the questions you asked at the beginning, then you'll know just how productive you have been. But if you can't answer a question, you know what you need to focus on next time. So you put that in your diary for tomorrow. And that gradually is how you become much more productive. So time needs to be managed properly. It's not just about how much time, it's how you use the time. So Alex, think about, is 6 hours enough? Is it too much? Should you split it up through the day? I don't know. You know what suits you, but I will be giving some general tips in another talk in the future. Right? I'm getting a lot of questions around interest. And as young people, of course, you don't know what you're interested in yet. So you're young enough to try lots and lots of different things. As I've suggested, use your spare time to experiment, to find out more. Now you have access to the internet. That means you can find out about so many different activities. And of course, no matter what you're interested in or think you might be interested in, on the internet, there will be thousands, maybe hundreds, maybe millions of people who are interested in what you're interested in. So now is the opportunity to find out, try different things. And I don't know what those things are, but thinking about the stuff that you like to do now, and find out how other people get involved. Find out what other people do with that particular area of activity. So if you want to be a computer gamer, find out what makes good computer gamers and practice hard, but make sure you do your schoolwork. Because again, let me make another broader point here about education, right? So your future is not actually about getting good exam results. Shock horror, what do I mean? What I mean is that good exam results are not the objective in themselves. What good exam results are about is opportunities, options. So let me explain. If you don't get any SPM results at all, you know that your opportunity will be limited. You will only be able to get very unskilled jobs, and those jobs will not pay much money, and you will find it hard and struggle to get all the things you want in life. So by getting SPMs, you know that you've now already got a better opportunity when you go out to work. But also, SPM opens the opportunity to come to Sunway College EPO. And if you study at Sunway College EPO, that then opens the opportunity to better jobs. But it also opens the opportunity to go to university. So actually, what you're doing is creating more opportunities, more options in the future. And the more options you have, the more choices you have to pursue what you're interested in. And of course, the more you educate yourself, the more you learn about other things, other topics, other issues. And you may discover things you didn't know about that suddenly interest you. Once you discover that, you may realize you have a real talent. And when you realize you have a real talent, you may now know what you want to do with your future career. So I would like to go to university. I always feel I can't achieve that, as my mum said, that going to university is useful. I also worry about wasting my parents' money. Okay, now, if you do come to university, and I've spent a lot of my life around universities, but I've spent most of my life in business, but let me tell you, at university, we want you to succeed. We spend an awful lot of time and effort making sure that all of our students do the best that they possibly can. So I meet regularly, for example, with my academic colleagues. I meet with the deans, I meet with the vice chancellor, the president, the provost, but I also meet with individual lecturers, and we actually track student progress. So if we identify a student who is not doing particularly well, we take steps to intervene. And I know they do the same at Sunway College EPO. So they look very closely and very carefully at individual student progress, and we do our very best to support individual students. So don't worry, do the best that you can, and remember to identify the things that you find difficult, and then use this, the most powerful learning tool there is. Go and ask questions, go and ask your teachers, ask your lecturers, and they will help you. They will point you towards the textbook you need to read. They will show you the practical exercise that you need to do, and gradually you'll improve. So you will be able to do it. But again, you break it down into the smaller steps. You don't try and get a degree in one go. A degree takes at least 3 years, and we take you through each thing step by step. We gradually improve your skills. And exactly the same thing happens at Sunway College EPO. If you go and do a diploma, they gradually take you through your skills. If you go and study accountancy, you don't suddenly become an accountant in the first day. You gradually learn the skills of being an accountant. And you realize that, yes, you can do it. You can do this little thing, then that little thing. And then you can build on both of them and go a little bit higher. So don't worry. I'm sure if you want to do it, you can. Let me give you a general piece of advice. If you say to yourself, I can do it, or you say to yourself, I cannot do it, whichever one you choose, you'll be correct. The choice is yours. If you think you can do it, you will do it. And if you think you can do it, you'll try hard. If you think you can't do it, you won't bother. And if you don't bother, you will fail. It's as simple as that. So, toxic parents are treating their kids in harsh ways because it's been projected on them from their parents. Yes? Yeah, that's true. That's a very good observation. Thank you. Yes. So, what you see as toxic parents is a misunderstanding. It's how parents and kids find it difficult to communicate. Right? And this is an amazingly funny thing. The parents that you have are the people who will love you most of all the people you will ever know in the world. And they are the people you find it hardest to communicate with because you are so close to them. So if you're looking for guidance, you can always go and talk to another adult. Maybe go and talk to a friend of the family. Go and talk to an uncle or an aunt, or go and talk to a teacher. And they may be able to give you a sense of where your parents are coming from and explain to you what your parents are trying to explain to you. But they'll do it in a much calmer way. Because they're not so close to you, they'll find it much easier to explain to you without perhaps getting angry or getting scared and worried. Right? Could I still pursue my dream if I'm from an underprivileged family? Yes, of course you are. I come from a family you might consider underprivileged, right? So my mum and dad were not rich people. When I was born, they lived in one room. Right? And everything I have in life, I've made for myself. Why? Because I don't give up. If I want to do something, I do something. Right? So I've achieved because I think I can try and because I use my time. I plan. So your background is not your destiny. Right? If you're bright and you work hard, and working hard is the most important thing, you will achieve. So you can do anything, and you live in Malaysia. You are so lucky. You're in the most wonderful country in the world, right? And you are so well placed for the careers of the future, right? Almost certainly you speak at least 2, maybe 3 languages. That means with an online link, you can do business anywhere in the world. So get yourself a good education, win some scholarships, and then set up your own business and make billions of ringgit. You can do it. The choice is yours. Is it a good idea to make my passion into a career? My mum says this is a bad idea. Well, it depends on what your passion is and how good you are. Obviously, if you enjoy what you do at work, you're going to enjoy what you do at work so much that you're going to be good at it. But actually, even in the most boring task, you can find enjoyment. So if you're doing something you really don't like, just promise yourself you'll focus for 5 minutes. Then when you focus for 5 minutes, reward yourself. Pat on the back. Time to have a sweet. Right? Then focus for 10 minutes. And do you know what? Before you realize it, you'll have completed the task. Right? So you can actually make something your passion for a short time just by trying. But don't be scared about doing your career as a passion or your passion as a career. Find out what you like to do, find out what you're good at. They're probably going to be the same thing. And then think about the career that might be best for. But now it's probably a bit too early to think about careers. Focus on opportunity by getting those good exam results so you have options next year about what you can do, going on to college, going on to further education, or going out to work. I'm scared of being judged by others. How do I deal with this? Now, this is actually quite a problem, particularly amongst younger women. So I'm afraid younger women tend to judge each other quite harshly when they're teenagers. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, right? If you're worried about being judged, think about, what does that really matter? Does it matter what somebody else thinks of you? Does it matter what somebody else says to you? And if somebody says something nasty to you, why? Did they mean it, or are they jealous of you? Because often what we see amongst young people is they say something nasty, they judge somebody else because they wish they were that person. So maybe the people who are judging you would like to be you. Think that through for a moment. Maybe they'd like to have the life that you have. Maybe they see you as more successful than them. And by supposedly judging you, criticizing you, what they're doing is trying to make themselves feel better. So don't worry about what somebody else thinks about you. Think about what you know about yourself. Be truthful with yourself. Be honest with yourself. You know whether or not you're really studying. You know whether or not you're a good person. And if you're not studying and you think you're not the best person you can be, it's your choice to change it. You can choose to be the person you want to be. So if you want to be a kind person, the best way to be a kind person is to start being kind. And if you know who you are, feel confident in who you are, and don't worry about what anybody else ever says about you. Now, what should I do if I chose the wrong subject? Now, I'm assuming that is I've chosen the wrong subject in SPM, or perhaps I'm in the wrong stream and I'm not really happy with it. Well, the first thing is, what do you mean by wrong subject? Is it something you don't like, or something you think you cannot do? Remember what I said earlier? It's your choice. You either think I can, or you think I cannot. Whichever one you choose, you'll be correct. Right? Now, there are lots and lots and lots of difficult things in life. And the people who succeed and do the difficult things are the people who go on to have the best and the richest and the happiest lives. So have you chosen the wrong subject, or is it you're approaching it in the wrong way? So again, break it down. Can you do it better? Or are you struggling because there's something fundamental you don't understand? So for example, with maths, if people struggle at maths, it's normally because there's some earlier part of maths they don't understand. So work out what that thing is you don't understand. Go back and ask your teacher. Say, look, I don't understand this. Can you please explain it to me? Or can you please tell me where I can get some further information? Then go online, do your own search. Remember what I said earlier about investigating, right? So spend some time finding things out for yourself, okay? Don't be afraid to go on the internet and find out information for yourself. And if at that point you're really still struggling, sit down with your teacher and explain how difficult it is, and ask your teacher, what are your options? What are your choices? Is there a better alternative for you? But don't just give up because you find it difficult now. Try your best, and then see how far you can get. And I think you may surprise yourself. So judging others won't benefit those who are judgmental. That's very true. That's an excellent point. Thank you, Nadia. Just be who you are, do what you love. Yep, that's right. Be yourself. Love yourself. Be proud of yourself. Yeah, because you are a wonderful person. There is nobody else on earth just like you. You are completely unique. And that's a wonderful thing to be. So enjoy being who you are. So how to avoid fake people and negative content that's created by others? Well, that's about using social media wisely. If you look at social media, you would believe that everybody else has an absolutely perfect life. That is complete rubbish. Actually, I'll tell you a little secret here. I hardly use social media at all. I have a Facebook profile, but I don't post anything on Facebook, right? Because I realize that most of what's on Facebook isn't true. It's people presenting the very best, right? So think about it. Would you ever post a photo of yourself getting out of bed first thing in the morning? Of course you wouldn't. Neither would anybody else. So what you see on Facebook isn't necessarily what's true. So always bear in mind that what people present to you is not necessarily who they really are. Now, as you get older, you'll begin to realize that sometimes what people say and what people do are different. That's when you know you found somebody who's fake. That's when you know that they aren't really the person they claim to be. And you don't need to be friends with those people. You can avoid those people. You must be polite and you must be tolerant and nice to them. You don't have to spend your spare time with them. So if there's somebody you think you don't really like who's fake, well, fine. Don't waste your time on them. Plan your time not to be with them, right? And don't worry about what they might say about you. They're probably jealous of you and your success, right? They'd like to be you. That's why they complain. So are there any more questions?
Yes, there's one more call from YouTube. Here you go. From Putri Marisa.
Okay, I find it easy to give up and always listen to other people instead of myself. How can I get rid of this kind of thought? Well, I've told you about 3 deep breaths and the power pose. And every day, in every way, I get better and better. And also focus. Just focus for 5 or 10 minutes. Do what you promise yourself to do. And if you do that 2 or 3 times in an hour, you'll have done 30 minutes of good, productive work. You'll have achieved something, right? And if you start out, as I said earlier to a question, with a series of questions, so you think about, why am I doing this? What do I want to learn? And you write those things down. Then at the end of your 30 minutes, you can look back and you can write out your answers and say to yourself, okay, I now understand this. I've achieved something. So I can now do this. All right, I might only be able to do it at 10 minutes a time, but gradually you'll build up 10 minutes to 15, to 20, to 25, to an hour. And then you can take a break. And you'll begin to realize that, yeah, you can do it. Right? So make it easier for yourself by doing small amounts, then gradually making them bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And you'll find it much easier to keep doing what you're doing, and you won't give up. And as it gets easier and easier and easier, you can make it longer and longer and longer. And that's what other people say. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. They don't know who you are. They don't know what's going on inside your head. They don't know what's in your heart. Right? You focus on who you are. Don't worry about other people's negative comments. They're just jealous of you. No, being inactive in social media does not mean you are antisocial. I'm very sociable. So I use WhatsApp, for example, and I keep in regular touch with friends through chat groups and through individuals. So I'm in regular touch with other people, but I don't feel the need to send them pictures of my breakfast. I don't feel the need to post pictures on Facebook, right? I'd rather talk to people than just put things on a website. So in that sense, you might say I'm more social than people who use social media. Yeah, I find it hard for me to handle my emotions and studies. So can you give me any advice on it? Okay, so at this stage of life, you're young people, you're discovering who you are. So this is one of the most exciting and difficult times of life. Okay, everybody around you, all the adults know this, because I know it comes as a shock, but we were children too. And then we became teenagers, just like you, before we became adults, right? So there was a time when we went through what you're going through now. So the reason that you feel emotional is because your body's undergoing a whole series of changes. Your hormones are up and down, and you're gradually turning into men and women. Don't worry too much about it. It's actually quite normal to feel emotional. It's often quite normal to feel, oh, I can't do it. But as I've said to you, if you focus on doing just a little bit and then make that little bit a little bit bigger, you'll find it gradually easier and you'll feel more comfortable, more positive. Now, we've talked a little bit about sleep, and sleep's a really important thing for young people. And of course, most of you prefer to sleep long into the morning. So you like staying up late at night and then sleeping long into the morning. Whereas mum and dad want you to get up early. Now, there's a natural conflict there. So here's a deal, right? Go and speak to your mum and dad and say, okay, it's a long weekend now, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'm going to sleep in. I'm going to sleep late tomorrow. But I promise you, I will catch up during the day and do all the other things I need to do, whether it's my household chores, errands, or study. And then make sure that you do it. And of course, if you've put this in your diary, you can now show mum and dad, look, here's what I'm going to do. I promise what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to be doing. And they'll be able to see that you do it, and they'll trust you. Now, that extra bit of sleep will make you feel happier. At your age, you need to sleep at least 8 hours a night, which is another good reason for not using social media in the wee hours of the morning. Don't wake other people up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Put your phone in another room or switch it off, right? So I don't sleep with my phone in the same room because I don't want to be disturbed. You should try the same trick. And if you're getting enough sleep, you may actually feel a lot more confident and your emotions will feel a lot flatter. Another thing to do is to avoid too much sugar. So be careful about what you eat. Okay, if you have lots and lots of sugar, your emotions will go up, but they'll then go down, right? So avoid eating lots of sugar. Think about what you're eating. Eat plenty of natural fruits and natural products, but don't eat lots of sweets or drink lots of sugary drinks, because that can affect your emotions quite a lot. It will take you up and take you down very quickly. So think about eating regular meals through the day. And if you're feeling a little bit upset, then maybe a small snack can be enough to lift your blood sugar level and make you feel a little bit happier, a little bit more focused, but not too much sugar. So have 1 sweet, not 5. So what's the benefit of taking a personality test? Okay. My sphere of study is actually the structure of personality and what makes people different in terms of their personality. Personality tests can be really valuable, but for you at your age, your personality is still developing. So at this stage, you've still got a lot of choices to make. A personality test now may tell you about where you are now and may help you identify the things that you want to change, the areas where perhaps you want to be a different person. So a personality test can be really good for telling you the things about yourself that you want to make more, and maybe the other things that you want to make less. So be careful though to make sure that you're doing a good personality test. All right, there are some good free ones online, but a lot of the personality tests online, I'm afraid, are not very good. Of course, come to university, study psychology, and we'll teach you all about personality testing, and you'll learn an awful lot about yourself as well. Is it good to be alone and not being friendly or social? Yes, sometimes it's good to be alone, but also sometimes it's good to be social. And this is what I said earlier about planning your time. Sometime you need to be alone. You need your own time, just to be quiet, just to think, just to be yourself, right? But also it's good to be with other people. And if you plan your time, you can make sure that you get enough time on your own and enough time with other people. Now, some people prefer to be on their own most of the time. Some people prefer to be with other people most of the time. That's actually about your personality. Don't worry which kind of person you are. There's no right or wrong answer. But make sure that you do spend some time alone and some time with other people. Find the balance that suits you, and that'll be absolutely fine. Don't worry too much about it. Okay, any more questions? Let me have a drink.
No more from YouTube.
Got another couple of questions, have you?
Yeah, any more questions from the students, whether it is in this Zoom room or YouTube? Let's have a last one.
Okay, there don't seem to be any more questions. Thank you, Juan Michel. But let me just say, and Juan Michel will let you know, that I'm going to be doing some more talks in the future online. So please, if you want to come and learn some more, please feel free to come again and ask me any questions. It's been a delight to be with you today, and I hope you've enjoyed the session and found it useful.
All right. Thank you, Professor Hill. Thank you so much for your time, for your sharing. I think today is a very fruitful session, a fruitful 1 hour session. Really can see our students now, especially the secondary school students, yeah, they are really under stress, okay, during this period of time. That's where I believe there are more questions to come. All right, as Professor Hill mentioned, yes, my dear students, no worries. We are going to have one more session, which will be on 19th of June. It's on Saturday. We will send you the invite, and it won't be the same topic, right, Prof?
No, it'll be different.
Yes,
we'll
so it will be a different topic.
Yeah.
So maybe by then you guys can also join us again, and probably you will have more questions to ask. All right. Prof. Hill had shared also his emails just now. If you remember to capture that, you can always send him questions or doubts if you have, and he will try his best to attend. Right? Okay. Yep. Thank you so much, Professor. And thank you, my dear students. That's the end of our today's session. It's exactly 3 hours plus for today. Thank you for staying with us, and hope to see you all again soon. All right. Thank you,
Michelle,
so much.
do you mind if we have a group photo before we end the section?
Yes, yes, of course. All right. So the students in this Zoom room, do you mind turning on your camera, and we will take a group picture? All right. We have been spending more than 3 hours here. Let's take a nice picture as a memory. All right, can I have the students to turn on your camera?
Good. Most of you have turned on your camera. Very good. Okay, there are 3 pages here I can see. So we have to hold our mouth for 3 times. Okay. Okay, second page. Yeah, student, please on your camera. Okay. Are you ready? Shall we start? Okay, I will count until 3. Yeah. Okay. 2, 3. Okay, done for the first one. Okay. Let's see second page. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and smile. Okay, done for second page. Okay, the last page. 1, 2, 3, and smile. Okay, done. Okay.
All right.
Michelle, I hand over back to you.
All right. So thank you very much once again. Thank you, Prof. I would like you to stay with us a while after all students left. Okay, all students from YouTube and also from the Zoom room, you may leave the room now. Remember, we will send you the next invite for our next session. All right. Have a nice weekend and stay safe. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
teacher. Thank you, professor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Jason. Bye.